What's going on, Lions fans? Welcome to the Pride of Detroit PODcast, your home for all the latest chaos and nonsense to hit your Detroit Lions, because that's exactly how it's been the last couple days. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's been crazy the last few weeks. I'm your host, Miko. You can find me over on Twitter at the Miko Scott. We are going to talk about a lot of things because it's been a hell of a week here in Detroit with this team, with this fandom. And there's a lot to unpack, from the Lions' performance on Thanksgiving Day to the news about Frank Ragnow to the recent news about Terrion Arnold, and just overall just how this is going to impact the rest of the season going forward. And who knows, by the end of this podcast, we might end up doing a mock draft just to kind of, irritate Jeremy a little bit more. Um, with that said, I'm joined by my two amazing co-hosts. First and foremost, we have your senior editor over at pridedetroit.com, Ryan Matthews at Ryan_POD. Ryan, what was your favorite part of Thanksgiving break? I'm very curious at this point.
No,
Hey, Jack White was great, right? Like that was nice.
I can't believe that truly was the highlight of my Thanksgiving week when it came to entertainment involving the Lions. Like, we recorded a podcast and now we're recording another podcast, and the time in between those two podcasts, Frank Ragnow unretired and retired again.
Yeah, it has been a ridiculous strand of a few days. Jeremy Reisman is here with us, our chief editor over at prideofdetroit.com, at Detroit Online. Jeremy, how are you feeling?
Um,
Oh no. The
Not, I
eternal
mean,
optimist?
no, it's. Ryan and I were just talking, and I said, like, this has got to be one of the most deflating weeks in Detroit Lions fandom, and I know that's prisoner of the moment, and I know that can't possibly be true given the history of this franchise, but I mean, just by looking at something like playoff odds. They were something like 73% to make the playoffs this time last week, and they are down to 30%. And, there's some that are a little bit more optimistic. They have them in like 40 to 45%, but 30 feels about right. And then that was just like the tip of the iceberg, the tip of the, I don't know, for lack of a better term, diarrhea Sunday. Like, it was just hit after hit after hit, and it hasn't stopped. Like, the Terrion Arnold, the IR news that he's getting shoulder surgery literally dropped seconds before we hit record here. So I don't know who cursed what, and it also seems to be like siphoning through all of Detroit sports. And I'm ready for spring. Can we just, like, to be clear,
No,
I'm not giving up on the season, and we're gonna get to all of that too. But, like, this is too much for 1 week of Detroit Lions news.
Listen, we're just one more, curse ritual away from flipping this thing all around. That's all we need. We need Peyton Manning. We need another celebrity to go down to Ford Field, do whatever voodoo they need to do to reverse our fortune. Because I'm with you. I'm sure there has been a more just, all around bad week for the Lions in their history, but this one feels terrible, Ryan. Like, I don't even necessarily know where we should start. I guess we should start with the game, because I think that's where things kind of initially started. Going into that Packers game, there was still some optimism because the Frank news was still like, hey, Frank could be coming back in a couple weeks. And then the Lions have a very poor showing in that game against the Green Bay Packers, where they lose 31-24. And it's just an all-around bad performance, mostly from the defense. I thought the offense kind of responded based off of how they played the week prior, but when you look at that game defensively, it was just not what you needed from a Lions team looking to stay in the playoff hunt.
Yep, that's about it. The offense, I think, overperformed, right? And I think, to your point, you had guys like Tom Kennedy who were playing like they didn't want to go back to the practice squad, Jeremy. They did not want to go back to being scout team anything. Tom Kennedy, where have you been all year to return that football? Like, kick returns, his ability as a receiver. That was fun. Isaac Teslaw catching a touchdown. Jamison Williams having a really, really, really good game. One bad drop, and you know how I probably feel about that. Maybe put it 2 feet in front of him and it's a touchdown, Jared Goff. But lo and behold, the offense wasn't the thing that I felt the worst about. And I know we talked about when on our quick pod reacting to the Frank Ragnow news, my thing was, oh wow, this is the thing that could really turn around the Lions season. And then on Thursday, it was, man, can the defense pair their pass rush with their coverage, or can the coverage meet up with the pet? Like, it just seems so disconnected all day long on defense. The explosive plays were there. As soon as the Lions were close, it was a huge play to Christian Watson. It was Matt LaFleur and his cocky cuss word winking in the post game press conference about getting that timeout in before the false start. Uh, I don't know. Just, Josh Jacobs on a bum knee looking like a really, really good running back. But hey, Jeremy, they look good when they're running against 10 defenders. It's, I don't know. It was just like no bad, good, awful performance from the defense. And then I don't want to jump ahead, but like, I think I don't know. It felt like the cherry on top was what happened on Friday, and then the news on Saturday morning. Like, again, I don't want to jump too far ahead. Let's talk about the Packers game, but like, it's important to keep that in context too, because like the Lions lose on Thursday, and it's like, okay, well, like not all hope is lost, right? Like it wasn't
Right.
like the Lions lost on Thursday, and then it was like, oh, okay, pack it up, season's over.
Yeah.
Let's head on home. It was the Cowboys taking care of the Kansas City Chiefs after the Lions lost, and then what happened on Friday and Saturday. But
I like how you won't even say what happened on Friday. You're just refusing to acknowledge what happened
I can't. I can't.
on the
I
Black
don't
Friday
want to.
game.
Yeah. No, it truly Black Friday. Like
Right, well,
awful. Black
no.
Plague Friday.
But I think it's good to highlight that it didn't feel like the season was necessarily over after the Packers game, because that was a tight game. It was a very tight game. It was a game. I mean, we've already discussed it at length. That was won on fourth down. That the Packers go 3 for 3, the Lions go 0 for 2, and you switch one of those around, and who knows what happens the rest of the game. I was very much impressed that the Lions offense was somehow able to keep it together without a running game for most of the game, without Amon-Ra St. Brown for pretty much the entirety of the game, against a good Packers defense. That is a defense that they had not really figured out in the past couple of years here. And we got ourselves a shootout when I was not at all expecting a shootout between those two teams. But like, just as promising as the offense was, the defense was so freaking frustrating, because a lot of times it even felt like they were in position to make plays. They were in position to get off the field. They had those, 3 fourth downs, and pretty much all of them, except for maybe one, were like, you had the opportunity to make a play there and you didn't. And so it didn't feel like that version of the Detroit Lions still didn't feel that far off from like a playoff contender, a team that can go out there and rattle off a 4 out of 5 wins here to end the season. But yeah, but then you get hit with the Amon-Ra thing happens. Then Cowboys, Bears, Ragnow, Kirby Joseph, Terrion Arnold. Like this is where things are spiraling, and you're like, can I just go back to the Lions lost to the Packers? Because things seemed better even then. And it's frustrating.
Guide was over. Like Sunday was like
Yep.
such a miserable day of football.
The
Vikings can't do anything against the Seahawks.
Yeah. The rooting guide is
Panthers
like,
beat the Rams?
that technically might help, but also now you kind of have to worry about the Panthers. I don't know. It's crazy how bad of luck this team has had just in a 7-day span. Even going back to the previous week's rooting guide, which I think went 1 for 7. So it's just like, I know this team isn't doing themselves any favors. I know this team needs to be better. I know the coaching staff needs to be better. I know the front office needs to be better. But I think we can all just sit here for a second and be like, also, this is just terrible, shitty luck. And it's frustrating to sit here and have to go through it.
Yeah, I think for the most part it is. Like, totality wise, Ryan, this is just terrible luck across the board. But Ryan, to Jeremy's point, it does feel like something has to get right. Like something has to get straightened out for this team to even have a chance, because technically, mathematically, their chances of making the playoffs aren't just in the toilet. It's much more difficult because of the Lions losing, the Cowboys winning, the Bears winning, and et cetera, et cetera. But if you're the Lions, if you're the Lions coaching staff, like where do you start first in terms of trying to get this team right?
Dude, I'm glad it's their job and not mine because I don't know. I really don't. Like, I think this is the hand that you were dealt, but also it was the hand that you were dealt last season. We talked about how extremely unfortunate and unprecedented and unlucky it was for the entirety of the defense essentially to be injured. A lot of guys on IR. We're here, a year later, and it's not absolutely dire, right? It seems like you had Frank back, but then you didn't get Frank back, and you have you know, I don't know. I'm really just at a loss for words. I think the thing about the Frank stuff is the hamstring injury, right? And the fact that it was as bad as it was, and the reports and the Terry and Arnold stuff, like that literally prevented us from starting the podcast on time because it was again one hit after another, and the Kirby Joseph news. And yeah, I mean, Amon-Ra is a guy who's been healthy for pretty much his entire career and can play through an awful lot. And I think what you saw on Thursday was a guy who got injured so early in the game, and it took forever for them to rule him out. They got all the way through halftime. They got back on the field for the third quarter. That was encouraging. It's the low ankle, so it's not a high ankle sprain, and maybe there's some optimism there that you can get him back. But Jeremy, I think what we talked about with Frank and him needing to get back on the field sooner rather than later, does it go double time for Amon-Ra St. Brown?
I mean, maybe. I don't know. The offense, like I said, the offense actually kind of looked fine, and I'm not going to sit here and tell you that the offense is better without him than with him. Like that'd be a crazy thing to say. And
oh yeah, you're not one of those people on Twitter that was like, "Oh, look, like all it took for the offense to get fixed was for them to take away Jared Goff's security blanket."
No, I mean, sometimes I do feel like there is at least a little bit to that, like forcing a quarterback to look through all of his reads when he has a little bit of a security blanket. We kind of said the same thing with Matthew Stafford a little bit, but at the same time, Matthew Stafford now has a pretty darn good security blanket and he's doing just fine. So,
blankets, plural.
Yeah. But I mean, I don't know. To the bigger question, like where do the Lions go from here? I mean, they haven't been blown out by anybody. Like go out and just win a football game. Like I hate to give you locker room speak. I hate to give you coach speak, but like go out there and beat the Cowboys. You can. They're not a perfect team. Yes, they're playing very well. Yes, their offense is really good. Is their defense better? I don't know. I'm not about to crown them when their defense turned it around against an Eagles offense that is absolutely lifeless, against a Raiders team that is absolutely lifeless on offense. Or
I can't talk about the Eagles on this podcast, Jeremy. Stop.
They gave up 28 to a Chiefs team that is also like kind of going through an offensive crisis. So you can score points on this Cowboys team. Go win it. Just go win it. And then we'll go from there. We'll start figuring things out from there. You get probably Graham back this week. I don't know what you're going to do at tight end. You've got about 3 new guys this week that I've never heard of, and maybe Shane Zylstra.
Ricci?
Both. Correct. Correct is the answer. And then defensively, I mean, I don't know. You're going to need a spark somewhere there in the pass rush. It's been talked about ad nauseum already this week, where Dan might think that there's only 3 plays in which you have to get a pass rush that they didn't have a pass rush in against the Packers, which I think is total BS and maybe the least truthful thing he's ever said to the media. But then, Kelvin Shepard comes out in here and says, yeah, this isn't acceptable. We're gonna change things up personnel. We're gonna change things up scheme wise, and the players got to play better. And the fact that we've gotten to week 14 or whatever it is, and that's still being shaken up, not a good sign. Not great, Bob. But it's where we are. And yes, the Lions are still in the playoff race. So go change things. Go find something that works and beat the Cowboys. Like that, I don't want to hear anything else.
And I think that's for me where I would start is the defensive side of things, because the offense is what the offense is. I do think you can get that run game going. We've seen that happen here and there. And I think I have enough faith in Jared Goff to be able to put enough on his shoulders based off of that performance last week that he can do enough that him, J-Mo, Jameer, Monty, Tom Kennedy, I guess, like that they can put enough together offensively to contend with a Cowboys team and contend with most other teams in the league. It's the defense for me that I am becoming more and more concerned about because it is the approach that they've had. Jeremy, you talked about it going into the Packers game, like their weakness to the deep ball and them consistently just like getting beat on those types of plays. That happened time after time after time in the Packers game. And it's one of those things where it does sound like they need a schematic shakeup. Like they have to change the mindset in how they're going to cover, specifically more so, in my opinion, on how they pass rush, because that's the part that seems unacceptable when watching that game and kind of looking ahead is how can Micah Parsons be the type of player he is and have that type of impact? And you have Aiden Hutchinson, who I believe is just as good, if not better, having basically no type of impact on the game.
Ryan, you gave a look and then unmuted and then decided to mute again there. Were you going to contend about him being as good as Micah Parsons? Because I probably would too.
I was just gonna say that my mom told me to not say anything if I don't have anything nice to say. So
I would say, okay, I would say the perception is that Aiden Hutchinson is just as good or can be just as productive as a Micah Parsons.
They certainly
And I
don't use him
think
as
that's-
creatively, right? Like they don't use Hutchinson all around like they use Micah Parsons. They don't treat Aiden Hutchinson like this movable weapon where we're going to make you adjust to him rather than we have to adjust to your double teams, right? So I'm with you there. Like I'd love to see them move Aiden around. I'd love to see them try to come up with ways to make the offense adjust at the line to him, because it feels like they are just like, well, Aiden keeps getting doubled. What are we supposed to do? I don't know. Like figure out a way to get him loose.
I mean, line him up against guards. Like it's crazy to me because it's not like it's things that they haven't done. They just, to your point, they don't do it frequently enough. And I don't know if that's a lack of other options to be able to play the edge. But I feel like if you're going to experiment with putting Aleem out there, you can absolutely experiment with putting Hutch in the A gap or putting him over a guard and seeing what that's going to generate. But like I said, that's at least where I would start because I think the news with Terrion being out, I think there's some concern about that. But realistically, like how concerned are you guys about the secondary without Terrion? Because I feel like earlier this season we were all kind of openly campaigning that Amik should be playing outside more, and I think that's exactly what we're about to get.
go, Jeremy.
I mean, I don't think the secondary is going to look much different than it has in the past few weeks. And I say that knowing that the stats have been bad, but the eye test hasn't been as bad. I honestly think the coverage has been as good as it can be given the pass rush. You know, like the whole marriage between pass rush and corners, I feel like the corners are holding up their end of the bargain as well as they could realistically be expected to. I think DJ has looked relatively good in his return. I feel like the majority of the time, Amik is looking pretty good. I think maybe there were times in which we overhyped him a little bit, like he's not a lockdown number one corner, but he's a guy that's going to go out there and battle and be in a good position. Brian Branch, I thought, had a good game against the Packers, and then just like, you know, he loses the ball or loses whatever on the fourth and whatever 22-yard touchdown pass. He's right there in a good position to make a play in the fourth down conversion that ends the game. I think the secondary will be fine. They'd be fine on any other team that could generate a pass rush. And so the Terrion news sucks because I want him to continue to get playing time. I want him to continue to build his confidence by going out there and performing well, which he had been before all these kind of injuries started hitting in the back half of the season. But in terms of like impact this year, I think it's actually kind of minimal because he was probably the worst of at least the top three corners on the team. Maybe, I mean, Rock was maybe a little bit more reliable, has been maybe a little bit more reliable as of late too. So it sucks and I don't like it. And I want Terrion out there and I want him getting better. But this year, I mean, it's kind of a shrug your shoulders compared to all the other news we've gone through here.
Yeah, right.
I just want to talk about the pass rush a little bit more. There are some numbers that I found in NFL Pro that were pretty eye-opening. And the first one, going back to the Micah Parsons and Aiden Hutchinson stuff. So this was before the Thanksgiving Day game. NFL Pro points out that Parsons has generated 60 pressures this season and 8.5 sacks, tying Aiden Hutchinson for the most pressures in the NFL. So going into Thanksgiving, both have the same amount of pressures. The difference is how quickly they're getting there. And I know that's been the talk, right? And that's the thing with, can the secondary realistically cover for as long as it's taking for the pass rush to actually get to the quarterback and affect throws? Parsons, his average time to pressure is 2.64 seconds. Aiden Hutchinson's is 3.0. But that's not the thing that's so surprising. The eye test will tell you that. Right. Parsons' ability to get pressure in a hurry, it jumps off the screen. Parsons has also faced a double team on 21.3% of his pass rushes, the second highest rate amongst edge defenders with at least 150 pass rushes. Can you guess what you think Aiden Hutchinson's double team rate is according to NFL Pro? 6.7%.
Yeah, well, all right. I already disagree with this metric then.
I was going to say.
While I'm watching the game on Thanksgiving, because I saw this stat before Thanksgiving, I think that depending on how you qualify a double team, is it a chip? Is it actually dedicating two guys? I'm not sure what NFL Pro is going off of here, but I will say that at the end of the day, the other thing that NFL Pro I thought unearthed was pretty interesting was that Aleem McNeil has faced a double team on 52.4% of his pass rushes this season, 11% more often than his previous career high in 2023. So if there's an awful lot of attention going to Aleem McNeil and an awful lot of attention going to Aiden Hutchinson, can somebody else win a one-on-one? And I know that was Dan Campbell's point. Yeah. But even something else tucked in here is that Aleem McNeil has yet to record a pressure against any of his double-team pass rushes in 2025. I'm not saying that you need to record a pressure on a double team, right? I think that's what the really elite all-time great players can do. That's the Aaron Donald type stuff, and I'm not saying that they're even comparable players, right? They're two different players. It comes back to, you need the guys that you paid buku bucks to make plays. And then you also need the guys who are getting those opportunities one-on-one to make plays. And if none of that stuff is happening, then that's when it's a problem. And that's when I agree with Kelvin Shepard. And it's like, maybe we do have to think about scheme and trying something different and stop beating our head against the wall and doing the same thing that we've done all season long. Because this marriage between pass rush and coverage, it's not working. It's not working.
I agree. I mean, I don't know.
I don't know. That's just a point of fact. I'm not there's no question in that. Is there? I don't know.
No, I don't think so. I think there's a thing that I know I try to do where it's like you try not to put so much pressure on Aiden because you know that he's getting a lot of attention. You try not to put so much pressure on Aleem because you know he's getting a lot of attention. But then you also look at other pass rushers across the league, and it's like, I don't think Myles Garrett is getting, an open lane to the quarterback. I don't think Micah Parsons is getting an open lane to the quarterback. They are finding ways to still be impactful, whether that is scheme, whether they're being schemed open, or them just being the top tier athletes that they are and making plays. And that is where I think there is some criticism that can go in the direction of Aleem and in the direction of Aiden to be like, hey, I get it. It's tough. But at the end of the day, your best players, to your point, the guys that you are paying, the guys that you've invested in as cornerstones of your defense, those guys do have to show up and they have to make life easier for the other guys. I don't think it can necessarily, Jeremy, be the other way around.
No, I mean, it's not. I mean, they need Al-Qadim Muhammad. They need, Marcus Davenport. They need someone else to stand up. Or, I mean, I was talking to Tim Twentyman, spoiler, I'll be on his podcast this week. I think he brought up a good point. Where's Derek Barnes been in this entire conversation? When's the last time Derek Barnes has made a significant play this year?
He's been getting less snaps. That's what he's been getting.
Right. And he's a guy that they poured a pretty significant investment into last year. So someone needs to step up. I'd like to see more creativity from the coaching staff. I'd like to see maybe get your corners and your defensive backs more involved. I mean, of the last 4 sacks, 1.5 have come from Brian Branch. That's not great, but maybe that's something that works because your front four isn't generating pressure by itself. And I don't know.
It's a tough situation to be in because I think this is where we kind of get back to what the podcast was last week, not the Frank news, but the week before that, where we were just talking about like this team just seems like it's underperforming, and it's kind of hard to wrap your mind around it, where this is a team that for so many at least the last few years seems to have found ways to right the ship. Like, okay, they'll have a bump in the road against this opponent, and then they come back and then they rattle off 3 or 4 wins in a row. And you're like, okay, that was actually fixed. This is a little foreign under Dan Campbell in the sense that like it seems to be every other game it's something else. And that's where I do feel like there has to be a singular focus on like we have to fix this one thing. And I think, like I said, I think we've kind of hit the nail on the head where it has to be the defense. That has to be the thing that gets fixed in these next few weeks.
Yeah. I'll say this last thing on just the state of the team before we get into, I guess, all the other terrible news that's happened. I think maybe the most disheartening thing I keep hearing from the coaching staff is that like it's fundamental stuff. It's like, oh, well, we just need to fix this. We just need to get back to our fundamentals, get back to this, get back to that. Like, y'all, it's December. If fundamental stuff are still the things that are plaguing this team, whether it's the blocking on the offensive line or the pass rush or your stunts running into each other and things like that, if this team doesn't have that straightened out by December, that's a coaching issue. And if this is a coaching issue, then we have a lot bigger, deeper conversations to have. And I mean, we can start bringing up the brain drain conversation again if we need to, because those are the kind of tough conversations that I think this team is going to have in the offseason if they don't turn things around here in the final 5 weeks of the season. Is, okay, we have talent. We know we have talent. We have 11 guys that were voted in the top 10 at their position in the Pro Bowl and whatever, Pro Bowl voting, blah, blah, blah. Talent is the bottom line. This was a team that, with a lot of these players, most of these players, went 15-2, and that was not a product of luck. That was a product of this team building. And if most of those same guys are producing the kind of football we're watching right now, y'all got to look at the mirrors, coaching staff. Who's helping, who's hurting?
Yeah. And I think, to your point earlier, I think this probably is, I think we could beat this horse to death in terms of what the coaching staff needs to do, whether it's, again, making adjustments in their responsibilities or making adjustments on one side of the football or another. The reality is that like this conference is also starting to like slowly get away from the Lions. And I think a couple of weeks ago we were talking about the Bears and whether or not the Bears were real. And now they're comfortably at 8-3, and I think, or 9-3,
9-3. They're still not a good football team. They're still not a good football team. I don't believe it.
I trust me. My heart wants to agree with you, and I think there's a part of it where it's like, okay, this is going to fall apart. But like at this point in time, Jeremy, it doesn't feel like it's going to. Like, I don't know how, as a Lions fan, you rationalize what is happening in Chicago.
Well, it's here's how I explain it. They definitely weren't as good as their record showed through 3 months of the season, right? They skirted by on a negative point differential, something like a plus 17 turnover differential, which is like 8 more than any other team in the NFL.
Yeah, it was like 25, their 25th takeaway in that Eagles game of the year.
Their EPA, their DVOA all point to this being a really bad team through the first 8-10 weeks of the season, but they might actually be kind of good now. And that's something that I think explains a lot, right? I mean, this is a team with a new coach, a new offensive system, a new defensive system. Like, they are going to get better as the season goes on. Now, I'm not going to look at the Eagles game and be like, well, they beat the Eagles. That's the defending Super Bowl champs. They must be really, really, really good. I mean, we all have certain opinions about the Eagles. Eagles fans certainly have a certain opinion of the Eagles team, and it's not exactly a team that's like a shining example of stability and really good play. But the Lions did just lose to them, and we were like, well, that was a really good team and on the road and blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, that was on the road in Philly and primetime and, all that stuff too. That they deserve some credit for that win, especially with the way that they did it, right? They blew up a really good Eagles defensive front and ran for 280 or whatever it was on them. Like that, it's hard for me to look at that, and it was really hard for me to watch it and be like, oh yeah, that's what a like really diverse, interesting, innovative run game looks like, with a really fast runner and a really strong runner. Where have I seen that before? Because I haven't seen it this year as much. I'm already agitated because of the Lions game and the Cowboys game, and I'm watching that. I'm like, man, I missed this. Can we have this back, please?
It sounded like the edited version of what's actually on the explicit version of that CD.
Very true.
I will be quicker to admit and say the Lions are a bad team before I will ever say the Bears are a good football team this year. I will be much quicker to do that. I think that there is a tier in the NFC that still only the Rams belong to. I still think that the Rams are the top tier team in the NFC. Be damned what happened in Carolina. A couple of turnovers. Matthew Stafford has played almost perfect football all year long. But then I think you look at all these teams and they have warts, right? We've talked about this. It seems like the Lions' warts all came to a head in the past 5 days in a way that is so disconcerting. And I think the only thing that could cure it
is Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. Because I think that might have some medicinal properties. I'm not sure. That's at least what I'm using to get through the last couple of days, is just to be able to eat my way through my feelings. I've already plowed through all like the Thanksgiving leftovers, and now it's just Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. That's the only thing that's giving me some solace. And the Pride of Detroit PODcast is brought to you by Righteous Felon Craft Jerky. It is the jerky that fuels the Pride of Detroit, that fuels the Detroit Lions. Jeremy, tell me one of your favorite Righteous Felon Craft jerkies.
Man, Soul Survivor is a relatively new flavor that, to me, they did it right. They did it right, and I feel like that's one that's going to be almost like the turkey jerky, which is Foul Capone. Feels like it might head to like Foul Capone status of like they might be out of stock all the time because that's everyone's jam.
Yeah, and I feel like Soul Survivor might end up being like the sponsored jerky of the Detroit Lions if they ever make it to the postseason. Fortunately for you guys, if you go over to righteousfelon.com, you guys can get a 2-ounce bag of jerky, which has 16 to 20 grams of protein, and each stick actually has 8 grams. Trust me, if it's good enough for the Lions, it's going to be good enough for you too. Righteous Felon is based in Westchester, Pennsylvania. They use locally sourced all-natural black Angus beef and prides itself on superior quality, revolutionary branding, and unique flavors that go beyond the stereotypical jerky offering. And I know a lot of you have probably been taking up every single Black Friday, Cyber Monday deal that has been out there. Well, fortunately for you, you can go over to righteousfelon.com and use the promo code POD15 at checkout and get 15% off of your order. And that's year-round, people. Like, that's not just over the next couple of days. You can get that savings whenever you want. Again, that's promo code POD15 at righteousfelon.com. When we come back, we are going to continue to kind of look ahead for the Detroit Lions, because while things do look gloomy right now, we do kind of have to start to put things in perspective in terms of what does this mean for their playoff chances, and are there some other potential pitfalls that could be coming the Lions' way that they do need to be mindful of. So we're going to talk about that and a whole lot more right after this.
Maybe I am, Robo. Maybe I am. Maybe I am just a man.
Hold on. Let me break some news that's going to turn everything around.
Don't do this.
The Arizona Cardinals placed running back Jamar Jefferson on waivers today. Bring him back, baby! Here we go! Here we go, Jamar. Here we go. Munch, munch.
We are in such a such a low part.
There's a Craig Reynolds sized hole that only Jamar Jefferson can fill, and it'll make this team whole again.
You tell me when James Mitchell goes on waivers, and then I'll feel better.
James Mitchell, we've gotten that desperate?
I just want a tight end that oh yeah, I know that he can at least, play some football. I haven't
Shane Zylstra, baby! He's back!
Are we getting him this week?
Nope, probably not.
Oh, man.
Thank you for just showing that you're playing it instead of unmuting yourself and getting us DMCA'd.
Yeah, let's sign Adam Thielen.
Oh.
All right. It's just a football team. At least the wings are...
Did you hurt yourself? Did you cause yourself pain by saying that?
Everyone watch Pluribus. It's a really good show.
Yeah, it'll restore your faith in humanity.
Can we all just... No, I don't want to say anything about the show in case people want to watch it. We've done enough of that on this podcast. Let me go through alerts.
Yeah, do that.
Because, hey, we're donating money to charity this month. That's a fun, exciting thing that honestly has no one can feel sad about that.
It's
right?
True. It's true.
Owen, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Max Carey, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Robo, thank you for the 45 months subscribed on Twitch. David Lunch, 34 months subscribed on Twitch. Is that a mustache or... That's a mustache emoji in the chat. J Rago, 15 months, subscribed on Twitch. Nish, 8 months, says Amazon Prime sub, well worth the free therapy. Ooh, I don't know if we've...
Not a doctor. Not a doctor.
Not a doctor.
Nope. Not this episode for sure.
Maybe this is scream therapy. That's a thing, right? Is listening to scream therapy?
Could be worse. We could have been the people who reported that a Lions legend had died.
I mean, God, isn't that like the perfect little twist to a worst weekend? Is and someone died for 3 hours and then didn't.
I think that was the point where I was like, what else can happen? This has to be it, right? This has to be it.
Nope.
We've jumped the shark.
I'll say.
Also, I just want to click.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just wanted to clarify because we kept bringing up the Kirby news, but we never said what the Kirby news was. The Kirby news is good news, right?
I mean, yes and no.
Nico.
The good news is that he might play this week. The bad news is that his injury is permanent.
He might have a degenerative knee condition.
Okay. Because I haven't been able to read anything, so that's why I was when we kept saying that, and I'm all I knew about Kirby was that he went dark on social.
maybe we should just when we go back into the podcast, just quickly go over the other stuff because I feel we still didn't really talk about Frank. But I mean, I don't know if the Lions are going to even put his media session on their website. It was the saddest thing I've ever experienced. It was 90 seconds long. No. Kirby. So I never saw Frank.
Oh.
Here, I will essentially read you everything that I heard, transcribed, word for word on Kirby's part. The questions are paraphrased. Can you give us an update on what's going on with your injury? My knee's messed up. How do you fix it? You don't fix it. You just keep the faith. Surgery? How soon do you think you can play? It's all in God's plan. Did you feel anything when you were out there today? I'm out there. I'm going 100%. Do you have any concern about this, affecting the length of your career? Got to trust in God's plan. Put it in God's hand. Why'd you get off social media? Got to lock in. Lock in for what? Lock in for life. End of press conference. And the tone of it was very sad. He is emotionally drained. I don't know.
I can't go on social media because I can only imagine what Vikings fans are doing with this.
Being dicks, yeah. So I'm looking at the Lions YouTube and all they have is Jameson Williams' media session. They're not putting that literally like minute and a half up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's not. And I was watching him practice out there. He's got a massive brace on.
I was gonna say I saw those videos that Nolan put out, or
I think it was Colton.
okay,
It may have been both. So I don't know.
Yeah, that brace was like heavy duty.
Yeah, he's fidgeting with it the whole time. But like, I mean, to his credit, like he was moving around pretty good. Like we only get to see individual drills, but he was doing them. Like it wasn't like he was standing there watching everyone do it. He was going through them and running as close to full speed as he probably can. So there is a good chance he plays this week. I don't know if he's going to be as explosive. I don't know if he's going to be as sideline to sideline, but dude's going to give it his all. And I don't know what else you can ask of a guy who might have a degenerative knee issue.
Yeah.
Yeah, Lions blood, I agree. How about he just has the greatest game of his career against Aaron Rodgers in a couple weeks?
If Aaron Rodgers is even going to play, he might be in 10 pieces by then.
You want to talk about a team that maybe the vibes are lower? Pittsburgh is arguably up there.
Well, that's the thing, though. You broaden your scope. There are a lot of teams going through right now, and one of them is also in the division.
Vikings.
Yeah.
Could you imagine having to have Sam Darnold in that defense do that to you? And Max Brosmer, there were people, I'm just saying, there were people on social media that were saying, now, there were a lot of people who compared him to Brock Purdy, Max Brosmer. I was like, guys, what are we doing? Then immediately see him oof his way to an interception on the cardinal sin of quarterbacking.
That was something.
On the goal line, getting sacked 20 yards behind the line of scrimmage, throw up a ball into the middle of the field. Yeah, the Vikings are going through it for sure. That's what I mean, though, is I truly feel like the Rams are in a tier by themselves.
Yeah.
The only team I think that is close is Seattle.
Right.
Yeah.
But I
mean,
don't think
I would
they're
agree
quite
with that.
there. Like, they're offensively, there's something about them that I'm not totally sold on.
And that's why, like, if you like, I understand reading chat, which is maybe the most negative I've ever seen it. If there are people out there that like want to cling to hope, because why not? Like, it doesn't hurt to just be like, hey, this team could still make the playoffs, even if you don't fully believe it. I think the reason is what you just laid out. Like, what NFC team out there looks
Like world beaters?
looks like they couldn't go 1-4 or 2-3 down the stretch. And the Packers still play the Bears twice, and the Bears play the 49ers, and the 49ers play the Seahawks. Like, there's going to be a lot of beating up to be done with a lot of these playoff contenders, and one or multiple of them are going to go 2-3 or 3-2 or 1-4.
It has to even out. The past 2 weeks,
right.
nothing has gone the Lions' way.
Well, I
right?
mean, it literally is
Something
going
has
to, because the Packers and the Bears play each other twice. Like, they're not each going to win both of those games. That's literally impossible.
It's literally impossible, but at the same time, if they split, it's bad. It's
not
bad
great.
news, Bears. No pun intended. It's bad. It's bad if they split.
Yes.
Well, listen, I'm at this point I'm praying for Lions Blood 20s comment, shirtless Ben curse. Like that deserves some negative consequences. Like getting in a professional NFL locker room, you going shirtless after a win. You deserve like 3 straight losses for that.
Yeah.
I can't watch it. It's just
I saw a clip of it. I didn't even like watch it. I just like was scrolling through social media and saw him rip his shirt off, and I was like, yeah, nothing good can come from that.
I'll be honest. The only reason I clicked on it is because I saw that he did it for free wieners, and I had to know the backstory for it. There's some hot dog stand in Chicago said that they would give out free hot dogs if Ben Johnson went shirtless in the locker room celebration.
Yeah, either in the sidelines or during a celebration. Yeah.
I don't know. I just feel like the last time that happened, something similar of that, like it was the Kirk Cousins situation where like, you know, he was Kirk O'Chains and now he's back of Kirk down in Atlanta.
It's 9 all over again. He's going to suffer the 9 curse. The JJ
Okay.
McCarthy. Well, I mean, okay, for I know we're all like down in the dumps right now,
Yeah.
but how much of a consolation prize would it be if the Bears went from, after 13 weeks, the number 1 seed in the NFC to out of the playoffs by the end of the year?
The best. It would be the best
Oh, it
feeling.
would bring me so much. It would bring me so much joy.
And the Lions are the one that knock them out.
So much joy. Like I
There
don't
you
take
go.
that as a consolation prize.
Yeah. We got something to root for. We got something to live for, everybody.
Week 18.
I mean, right now, like in all honesty, outside of like the Lions just continuing to win, like that is like my white whale at the end of the season. Like, I'm just like, do that, conquer that. Like I don't even like, and I like the Lions could lose every other game between now and then, and if you just beat the Bears and kept them out of the playoffs, or like kept them from like, well, yeah, basically knocked them out of the playoffs somehow, I'd be like, all right.
You want to answer that, Jeremy?
Yeah, no, they're trying to play Kirby this year, and I don't think it's necessarily reckless. It sounds to me like this is just going to be management for the rest of his career. If Kirby decides he doesn't want to do that, then he'll decide he doesn't want to do that. If he's willing to go through the rehab, the prehab, the strength conditioning, all that sort of stuff to maintain an injury that's going to be there for maybe forever, then he's going to do that. I feel, and I don't know if it makes sense to talk about this on the podcast or talk about it now, because I see a lot of people coming for the Lions training staff, and I think some of those criticisms are fair. A lot of them aren't. I think with Kirby, it's mostly unfair, because the condition is what it is. The Lions didn't probably know the severity of it at the time, and that doesn't necessarily mean anyone is bad at their jobs. It just means injury. It's not like you look at an MRI and be like, oh, look, it says 6 to 8 weeks on there. Like, no, that's not how the human body works. That's not how injuries work. You don't know how a certain person's body is going to heal and all that sort of stuff is going to happen. The Frank Ragnow stuff, very much unfair to blame anyone other than Frank Ragnow.
Oh, about him not knowing the severity of his hamstring injury?
Right.
Yes. Well, to piggyback on that, can we talk about the Lions training staff that got Frank's toe in such a place that he felt like he could keep playing football?
Right.
So I hear the criticisms. I think it's fair to frame it as, I don't think it's fair to criticism, or I don't think it's fair to criticize them, but I do think it's fair to question what's going on.
Sure. Of course.
Yes.
But and here's where I'm at, and where I wish more people would be at. I don't know what the training staff is doing. I don't know how diagnosis works. I don't know how, their rehab plans work and all that sort of stuff. I can't criticize something I don't know. Yeah. But like, is it fair to wonder, okay, Terrion's dealing with a shoulder injury that has now sidelined him for the rest of the year. Was it the right decision to go out and seek a second opinion and play? Fair question to ask, right? Fair question to wonder. Fair question to wonder whether the Lions were right in letting Terrion go out there, get a second opinion, and go out there and play. Definitely fair to question, but I don't know what that decision process looked like. I don't know where the second opinion came from. If the Lions condoned it, if that was something Terrion did, if that was something the Lions did, what any of that works, I don't know.
There's another player right now, Brock Wright. He's getting a second opinion about a neck injury. Yep. And, you wonder, I don't know. I think what you laid out is perfectly stated, Jeremy. I can't criticize a process that I don't know how it starts, how it works, how it ends. I don't know the beginning to end of that entire process. How can I criticize something that I don't know anything about?
Right. And I understand there are a lot of like weird things that happened with injuries, right? I know there's a Twitter account that pointed out all like you re-sign Levi Onwuzurike and then he has an ACL tear somewhere in there that may have been an issue last year. Josh Pascal, you bring back on the 21-day evaluation window, and then at the end of it, you're like, actually, I don't think he's ready, which doesn't happen a lot, but is also not that weird, to be quite honest. Like, sometimes you're just like, well, We wanted to try to ramp you up and see if your body was gonna respond, and it didn't. I don't know, and this isn't me trying to carry water for the medical team. It's just there is such a vast ocean of knowledge that we don't know, that calling for their jobs is just like it's extremely disrespectful when again, like, you don't know what they're doing. You don't know what they're like. You might think they're doing things wrong because it looks weird, but if you don't understand the process, then you're just criticizing something to be mad at. And it's very much okay to like ask those questions and be curious and be maybe even like, hey, this deserves answers. It doesn't make sense to me. But turning that like ignorance into hate or anger or whatever is just an outlet, I think, of the frustrations that are mounting with all of us. And then the one point I want to make about Frank too is like, because I've seen this criticism too that makes no sense, which is like, why did the Lions make a big deal out of this before giving him a physical? Because Frank decided at the last minute to rejoin. The Lions had no choice but to announce and get excited about. I mean, maybe they could have toned down their excitement, but guess what? The minute Frank Ragnow has been activated from the reserved retired list, hits the training or hits the transaction wire, and we all see it, we're all losing our freaking minds. And because Frank waited until the morning of the deadline to return, the Lions couldn't get the physical done before the deadline, so they had to activate him. And then they did the physical when they had time to, and that's when everything blew up. And it sucks, and it's frustrating, and if you want to say it's ruined Frank Ragnow's legacy for me, fine, be that petty. I don't care. But ultimately, the Lions did nothing wrong. I wish Frank would have unretired a month ago. And I know Decker was even talking to him a month ago and getting him to try to unretire. And would this all have been avoided? Did he have the knee injury, a month ago? I have no idea. Again, fair question to ask. Hamstring, sorry. And certainly fair to like even question that. Like, how does Frank not know this? Something seems fishy. I'm not necessarily saying something doesn't seem fishy, but blaming the Lions for any of it doesn't make sense. It's just,
yeah, I
don't know.
I almost feel in that case, again, I'm not saying that you guys have to like feel this way, but like I almost feel like in that case, like Lions fandom did more of a disservice than like the Lions themselves. Like the Lions have to announce that like he's coming back. Like there's excitement in that.
Yeah.
As people who talked about it, maybe we could have tempered our excitement down a little bit, but like at the end of the day, no one would have thought like, hey, torn hamstring. Like,
right. No, like hamstring coming off the bone.
Yeah, like there in a scenario where you're like, man, it's gonna probably take Frank a couple, like I think the most realistic thing that would have possibly came out at the time of us knowing the news was like, hey, we think he'll play against the Rams game, and then finding out like, you know what, he's probably a couple weeks further out than that just because of conditioning, not because he suffered a season-ending injury. Like there's nothing to really like kind of be upset about in regards in terms of like being upset with the team about that.
Part of me really thinks that both parties did one another a favor. There's part of me that believes Frank wanted to come back. Frank wanted to play football.
I mean, he did. There's no doubt about that.
Yes.
Right? Like, there's no reason why he would have gone through this entire process unless he legitimately wanted to play.
100% agree. I think Thursday happened. I think Friday happened. I think things happened, and I think that the Lions did Frank a favor.
Tinfoil hats and shit.
The thing that really gets my blood boiling is what about 2026? It's like, guys, I don't even want to think about that. You know what I mean? Because it felt like it was this moment. It felt like, oh, this is the moment where it does make sense. Frank didn't have to play for the first, 13 weeks of the season, and you get him for this condensed schedule, and then they go off to the races and they win 5 of their last 6 games and they end up in the playoffs and they make it to the Super Bowl and they win the Super Bowl. It felt like very of this moment. It doesn't feel like, okay, we'll see if he's up for training camp in July. It's like I like if you the guy was content with retiring, there was an opportunity that was here. It just doesn't seem like this moment is the same as let's start in July and have you go through the grueling process of getting your body ready for the NFL season and going through all that stuff that you had to endure week in and week out and was the reason why you quit football in the first place.
Right.
Is because it was the week in, week out maintenance of that injury that was so tough to go through. So
it certainly feels like this was a death blow, right? Like as much as I was asking the same questions, like, okay, well, what about next year, please?
Yeah, I get it. Like you wanted you were starving. Yes. And you got a Ritz cracker for 48 hours.
Little Triscuit. Why didn't you tell me there were Triscuit crackers?
Yeah, I think it's one thing to think, like, there's one thing to have hope that maybe if he plays 6 games and he plays 6 games really well, that, like, hey, maybe that, or 6 games plus really well, that, like, maybe that springboard him to thinking, like, oh, no, I can actually reclaim my career and actually play for beyond just these 6 games. I think, to Ryan's point, it's a big stretch to wonder, like, is he ready for, like, a whole 18-game haul?
And now that he has, like, a serious hamstring injury to rehab.
Yeah, like it's the very thing that caused him to retire, right? Was like the injuries and the rehabs and all of those things. And it's like, okay, do you want to go through all that again? And on top of that, you're also going to play, a full season. Or I guess I don't know how long it takes to recover from a torn hamstring, because maybe he would still end up playing a condensed schedule next year.
It is worth noting. I don't think it really means anything, but it's worth noting that they did put him back on the retired list today. I think you just do that anyways, right? Like, what else would you do? Put him on IR? Like, that doesn't really make sense. If you put him on IR, you have to pay him the rest of the season. So I think you put him back on the retired list, and you don't have to pay him because he was never on the 53-man roster. He was on the commissioner's exempt list for, what is that, 4 days or whatever?
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, theoretically, does that mean he could still come back? Yes. Given everything that just happened, will he come back? I would say it's almost as unlikely as him coming back was for 72 hours or whatever it was.
So which aspect of this, because I know we talked about maybe talking about this after the break, like, what aspect of this is there to talk? Like, I feel like it's that straightforward where it's like,
yeah, maybe we just exhausted it now.
Well, I mean, like, not even just like rehashing this, but like, it was 72 hours. Like, there's the thing that you're losing is the excitement of what could have been. I don't know what else there is to talk about in the confines of like it's hard to miss something that you didn't get to actually experience him coming back for.
But we did. We did. You saw the picture. You saw him coming out of the tunnel at Ford Field, Miko. You saw it.
You were
the there with us.
No, I get it. That's why I said, like, the emotional, like, tug that had, great. I don't know what else to tell fans other than, like, yeah, it sucks that it's not actually happening. Like, you're not actually going to see him run out of that tunnel this year or ever.
I gotta say, the meme of him running back into the tunnel was like, I wanted to hate it, but
I didn't even see it.
It was just him flipped around running backwards. And it was like, I
just think to our podcast, I think to like one of my core feelings in the moment, it was just like, man, I'm just so glad I'm going to see him in the locker room again. And then I never saw him.
Yeah.
There's no proof to me that he was ever in the building.
So did the physical even happen?
Yeah, there we go. More tinfoil hats. Is Frank Ragnow actually alive? Is he the one? No, I'm kidding. Relax. I'm kidding.
Please.
I'm sorry.
No. Please don't even get us close to there. Like, I can't imagine being the one whose website
Was it just the Sixth Sense all over again?
Was it Tristan Colon and somebody else in a trench coat.
Oh man.
Oh man, yeah. I do kind of wish there would be one more statement from Frank though. Just give us a little taste of like what just happened and what you're going through now.
Lion's blood. Stop. A more crushing retirement. Robert Ayers or Frank Ragnow?
There was definitely some Robert Ayers conversations in the media room this week.
No, Jason, he never gave a statement.
All right, let me get to these alerts, including like the 8 or 10 donations from Nick the Greek in like $2 increments, because we still got a lot to get through here. Pirate Dog 37 months subscribed on Twitch just says I hate sports right now. Yeah. Fuzaki, thank you for the follow on Twitch. Austin Mammoth, thank you for the 39 months subscribed on Twitch, says at least it only hurts all the time. Yeah. Big Z Dubs, 23 months subscribed on Twitch. Madi Tuhati, a $24.31 donation to the University of Michigan Local Cancer Center. A donation that both makes me happy and sad at the same time because of the amount. Thomas J. Hutchins, 33 months subscribed on Twitch. Sin the Half, 4 months subscribed, says, please tell me we are getting reinforcements soon. Hey, Christian Mahogany was working with the trainer today and said he could return late December. So maybe we see him play for one more game.
Okay.
That puts a smile on some people's faces. Like,
Can that be the thumbnail for this episode?
if I can find a way of clipping it, absolutely. Everything's okay, and it's just Ryan.
Someone named January 6th a $4.20 donation to the University of Michigan Local Cancer Center says, yes, we deliberately lied to you about Ragnow coming back because we wanted to ruin your holiday break.
Is that
mission accomplished?
Is that from Tuanon?
Yes. A $1.69 donation, I'm not even going to say from who, says, you took this team for granted, so I bewitched Brad Holmes to trade up for Giovanni Manu. Repent.
Oh.
Josh,
and repentance.
Josh CV with a $50 donation to the University of Michigan Local Cancer Center. Back to the other donor, $2.69, says, you took 2 years for granted, so Terrion was baptized. I injured his shoulder. So after Terrion was baptized, I injured his shoulder. $3.69 donation says, you kept speculating about trading Taylor Decker in a self-indulgent and ungrateful way, so I took the cartilage out of Kirby's knee. A knee for a knee makes the whole world hobbled. Ocean Blue, thank you for the follow.
It's for charity, though. It's for charity, so he has to read it.
I'm sorry. Le Mans Builder, 31 months, subscribed to the channel, says, such talent, little results. Was Benedict that key to previous success? I mean, a little bit. Moldy Cornbread, 38 months, says this team was riding on the coattails of an offensive line and offensive coaches put in place by the genius Matt Patricia, and you beat writers didn't like him and ran him out of town. Winky face.
Don't you
was
dare.
put in place by Matt Patricia.
That is a very interesting way to describe Ben Johnson.
It's all true. Well, at least Michigan took care of business on set.
Oh. Okay.
All right. Ryan's been muted. Frogbark, 15 months subscribed to the channel, says, here's some positive. Prime subs are free. Great point. If you have an Amazon Prime account, you can link that to your Twitch account and subscribe to one Twitch channel every single month for free. It does not automatically renew, so if you did it during November or October and haven't redone it again, check and see if it's available by clicking that sub button and scrolling down to see if use Prime sub is an available option. You gonna be better, or do I need to mute you again?
I learned my lesson. Yeah,
I'm at least happy about Pat Fitzgerald. Like, that's nice.
Sure.
That's cool. Is that official yet?
Yeah,
Okay,
5-year deal.
cool.
So at least I know what to expect from Michigan State going forward. They are going to have roller coaster seasons where they're going to be really good some seasons and be just like, what the hell is this team? Other seasons.
I know that after all this Lane Kiffin stuff, that it's almost impossible to care about NCAA football at this point. Like, I want to. I love college football. College football is probably where my love for football started. And it's like what kind of circus are they running where the calendar doesn't make any god darn sense? Like you have a portal, you have essentially free agency that opens up while the season is going on.
They might
What?
as well call it that too. Like they need to stop calling it the portal and just call it free agency.
Yeah, calling it a portal mysticizes it in a way. It is not a mystical thing that you throw yourself through and then you end up on a new team. It is free agency. Like every
Hmm.
player is a free agent at any point in time. They can just decide, I'm done here. I don't like the smoothies they make in the cafeteria. I'm
Yeah,
going
the
to
timing of it all
Tulane.
is the timing of it all is odd too. Like how does like to your point, like how does this open up during the season? Like
Yes.
like the season ends, you can literally open it as soon as the season ends.
You can I don't think you can fault Lane Kiffin. I don't think you can fault LSU. I
Oh
think it's
hell no. I mean it's LSU.
100% no, it's not LSU. What
No,
if
no, I mean it's LSU that he's going to. Like I can't fault Lane Kiffin for
Oh,
being like,
yes.
I want to
Yes.
go to LSU. Like
It's a
that's
dream
one of
Bad
job.
the
program.
jobs. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. Like, I can't fault Lane Kiffin for wanting to go to LSU. I can't fault LSU for saying, we don't want to wait around Lane Kiffin and see if you take your team all the way deep into the college football playoff and then leave us without a coach for, the portal's open now. Like, we need a guy who's going to start recruiting. We are LSU. We expect to be an 11-win football team next year. I get it. I get it from both sides. I can't fault the NCAA. Yeah, I'm surprised that LSU didn't take Kelvin Shepherd. It might have been Thanksgiving that sold it.
The amount of just like little stories this year that are just so stupid. Like I need everyone in the world to take just a 30-minute lesson on media literacy. I got so mad over the Lem Barney stuff. And I'm not
Oh,
I'm not gonna go into it and point fingers or anything like that because there's no point in it. But it just I don't understand how something like that can happen. I don't understand how the Pro Football Hall of Fame can let that happen. I don't know how. Well, I mean, I can understand why people take the Pro Football Hall of Fame's press release, like actual news breaking, because that's the Pro fucking Football Hall of Fame. Forgive my language tonight.
this is real journalism.
Mm-hmm.
It's unbelievable that mistake was not only originally made but compounded by people who should know better.
I have to say, by that point in time, I was like emotionally dead inside. Like I couldn't.
Like I'm not even mad about like I'm I almost don't even feel bad for the Barney family. I'm mad for the state of journalism, news, society that this can happen so quickly like that.
Look at you being the Captain America of journalism.
And I'm not even a shining example of journalism. Like I'll go off of other people's reports all the time. I'm just usually going off the right people's reports. Like oh God, I don't know.
Wait, are you saying that you know how to vet and trust reputable sources?
Right. Yes. Like I don't have Lem Barney's number or his brother's number. I can't I couldn't be the person to verify that is true or false. But I know when to run something and when not to.
Facebook.
That's a
Facebook.
ton of real journalism right there.
Like what's going on Facebook feels like it should be illegal.
Mhm.
Like
I can't believe it.
I cannot believe there is not some sort of monitoring source on that website that allows the proliferation of obviously fake news. Like, I understand how we've become like so divided that like different point of views can make it seem like one side is lying, one side is not lying, but there's just like irrefutable lies and easily provable lies being put out there by essentially like bots, right? Like these click farm bots, and no one is doing anything about it. And it's just crazy to me that it just like, this is society now. Like, I'm sorry, there's nothing we can do about it.
Dude, I saw people perpetuating stuff about Justin Fields. Did you see that fake report?
No.
Where it's like
No.
Justin Fields reportedly has, quote, refused to take on a Taysom Hill role for the team. Fields has now distanced himself from the coaching staff and feels like Aaron Glenn cost a line of disrespect. And I saw that get shared so many times. It's like infiltrated its way to like other, like it's Facebook. It's Threads. Like Threads is wild. Threads is wild. Threads has a bunch of fake stuff on it. Like it's not real. Like there's not real life happening on Thread. Like I have never been a bigger believer in the dead internet theory than I have like today.
What's that? I feel like I should know what that is.
I feel like though, like it happens on Facebook because they like Facebook knows, or not Facebook, but the people that are doing it on Facebook know they can get away with it. And I say that based off of the people I know that have had to recreate accounts because they've gotten hacked or locked out of their accounts so many times. Like the gullible level on like of Facebook users is through the roof. And maybe it's an age thing where like people just click and share and believe things. I can't explain Threads because Threads should have been like more like a younger generation, a generation of people that should like be able to tell when something's fake. But
that's the thing.
I don't know.
It's really hard to tell when I don't know. It's oh man. I don't know. So, Jeremy, the dead internet theory is essentially it's a theory that claims the internet is largely made up of bots and AI generated content and that there's not really human interaction that's happening most of the time. Like most of the time you are interacting with something that is not a living human thing.
Yeah. That's definitely
POD
Twitter.
now standing for petty old dudes is actually hilarious to me.
Scream therapy today. I don't know where that YouTube comment went, but I'm going to nuke it if I see it. Like, y'all better chill out over there. You know who I'm talking to.
That's wild. What, like, link me to that study, Purple Yosh, because I felt like I've seen something. Felt like I saw something like that, but it was mostly in relation to like how many bots were following certain accounts. It's everywhere though. Like music. I don't care. I'll lean into this POD petty old dudes thing 100% when what are AI generated music artists? Like artists that are
wait, like actual like because if we're talking about like the AI like taking songs and then just like putting them in different like I think that's been interesting, but like if you're talking about like actual AI artists,
yes.
Yeah,
like,
no, that's trash.
Songs on Spotify getting like millions and millions and millions of streams, and they are not real artists.
Yeah, that's going to be the loophole of like the industry. Like I feel like.
All right, we're getting way off topic here. Let me get through the rest of the alerts and then I don't know, try to pull this train that I admittedly drove off the tracks back onto the tracks.
Yeah, it's your fault.
It is, admittedly so. Another donation for $1.69 says, Brad Holmes has not yet sacrificed the requisite number of third-round picks to regain my favor. His height, weight, speed t-shirts were very corny and prompted my wrath. Kula, 37 months subscribed to the Twitch, says, I'm going to believe that we're going all the way until I can't. I respect that. Another $1.69 donation says, you imagine the Sports Illustrated reaction video from Jared's first win while making love to your wife. For this, I took Sam Laporta's L5 vertebrae. Jesus. $24 donation from Austin Mammoth says, at least we have each other. You know what, Austin, thank you for bringing us back here. Soulful Break, $24.31 donation. Appreciate the donation, but again, a sad amount. Arnick, thank you for the 50 months. Subscribe to the channel, says, can the Lions please beat the Cowboys this week? Pretty effing please. Make me feel better. Even just for a week. I'll take that. Yahweh, thank you for the $3.69 donation. It says, your reactions to Jameson Williams were immoral. As punishment, I broke Mahogany's leg. And then Nick the Greek, 100 bits, says we all have the AI rant, guys. Yeah, I know. But we have a platform. We can do it whenever we want. All right. Are we okay, guys? Do we need?
Are you talking to us?
Define okay.
I'm talking to everybody who can currently hear me. You want the cowboy hat? Fine.
The lead up to Cowboys week.
There's also a couple list casts that people wanted. Dan wanted a list cast. Robo wanted a list cast. I don't know where my hat is. It's over there.
Are they fun ones or are they like?
I
I
didn't see them. Dan and Robo, let me know what your list casts are, and we might veto them. They're too depressing.
Ryan, what was the best thing you had at Thanksgiving?
It's tough.
Yeah, I'm introducing food, people, so get over it.
Yeah, we're hitting off all the things on the bingo card. Is that a tiny hat on your hat?
Yeah, it is.
It's like putting a hat on a hat.
It really is.
My favorite thing is my mom's pumpkin gooey cake, which is this like Paula Deen recipe, and it has like 3 sticks of butter in it, and it's so good. Like if you really like pumpkin pie, you would have this, and you would want this over pumpkin pie any other time. Even if you don't like pumpkin pie, I think you would try this and you would love it. I'll drop it in the chat, the recipe. But that, or it was funny. I did that radio spot on Thursday. I didn't want to do it, and I ended up doing it at my in-laws' Thanksgiving. On the spot, they asked me, and if you guys want to do this real quick, but they had me fantasy draft a Thanksgiving Day plate, and they're like, you have to pick a main, 2 sides, and a dessert.
Oh, that's light work.
Like a main, 2 sides, and a dessert. What is your ideal Thanksgiving plate? Now, we could draft, or we could just come up with what yours is.
Well, let me ask you this: what qualifies as a Thanksgiving main?
So I think they had it narrowed down to like proteins. So turkey, ham. I think they opened it up and they were like lamb and duck. So I think they were keeping it pretty foul.
I see what you did there.
You like that? You like that? You like that? Don't mute me. Don't mute me.
This is like the opposite of therapy right now.
What do you mean? We're all laughing. We're smiling. We haven't been done that for most of this podcast.
There are a lot of boos and a lot of kick 'em off. I'm sorry, guys. It's a fine joke. But I think I would categorize it as a protein, like a protein, like that's got to be your main.
Okay.
What are you laughing at now?
Someone named Brad donated $33.33. Says I'm giving away 3s to everybody.
Okay, I'll just pick my like dream plate. So
yeah.
I'm going with ham as my main.
Okay.
Baked macaroni and cheese. Specifically my wife's baked macaroni and cheese because it's fire. Yams. Because when the yams and the mac and cheese touch, magic happens.
Okay.
And for my dessert,
Marshmallows on the yams or no?
no. Mm-mm.
Okay. Okay.
Uh, and then for my dessert, I don't get to have it often, but it is like my favorite Thanksgiving dessert, peach cobbler.
Hmm. Peach cobbler is good. Jeremy?
I'm going to have the most boring ass standard list, but it's because it's what I've grown accustomed to on Thanksgiving and I love it. Like, give me turkey, mashed potatoes, gravy, stuffing, and pumpkin pie.
That's the most
I
American plate I've ever heard in my
I
life.
100%. I mean, I'm wearing the cowboy hat for a reason. All right.
I think that there really is something to that this year though. Like just having Thanksgiving and having it as I've traditionally had it is more than enough.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you only have it so many times. I think I saw um William Macy. William H. Macy, is that his name?
Okay. Yeah.
Am I getting that right?
That's a person.
He was talking about how it's like don't do creative things to the stuffing. Don't like put oysters in them. Don't do anything extra.
Mm.
Like it's Thanksgiving once a year. Just I want stuffing. He's like, give me the stuff out of the box. Like
Right.
I don't want it to be like all, special and ooh, I did this to it or I did that to it. It's like just give me the staples. Like I
Yeah.
don't need anything crazy.
I gotta ask, have you guys do you guys know what the difference between stuffing and dressing is? Or have you had
One of them is cooked with the
Oh.
bird inside of it, right? That's the
stuffing?
difference. That's stuffing. Okay.
Yes, okay. And then dressing is not in the bird.
It's just like a casserole you make outside.
Okay. So my plate would be I've never had a deep fried turkey. And I've always wanted to try it, but I've never had it before. Um I'm not saying I'm against normal turkey. I think that it's good. But I prefer and the best thing about Thanksgiving is leftovers. I think leftover ham way more versatile and better to have on a second serving than it is to warm up turkey, in my opinion. So I would go ham. I would go green bean casserole. Oh my gosh, dude. And
I knew one of you was gonna say it. I knew one of you.
don't even give me the fresh green beans. I want the stuff in the can. I want the cream of mushroom soup. I want
Oh,
the
God.
I want the French onion things on top. Dude, yes, give me that pig slop.
Ugh.
And I think I would see turkey goes so well with mashed potatoes and gravy,
Right.
like the whole scoop thing.
Yes.
So then it changes with the protein. So I don't think I would go. I think I would go stuffing. I'd go green bean casserole, stuffing, and then for dessert,
If you say any sort of like Jello, I'm gonna kick you off this call.
You better not.
Jello. Who does Jello?
You know, like the fruit Jello or like the ambrosia salad. That is the most
Oh.
gross American thing I've ever heard in my life. You know what I'm talking about, right?
I'm looking it up. I think I know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, that no. I always was weirded out by that as a
Yeah,
kid, and I never.
and the fact-
I always saw it, and I was like, that doesn't. It's colorful, but it.
The fact
That
that we
can't be
call
good.
it a salad too is just hilarious. It's got marshmallows and orange slices in it.
That belongs to a certain part of America. That doesn't cross certain lines.
Just like searching it, the best ambrosia salad recipe has pineapple, mandarin oranges, yogurt, mini marshmallows, coconut, and whipped cream. Like what? What? That's not a salad. It's like that's ridiculous. But no, I don't. I didn't. I don't know if it's necessarily Thanksgiving theme, but like my family always has key lime pie, and I don't care. Like it's
okay.
so I feel like Thanksgiving is what you make of it, right? So if like that's the tradition, if there's always key lime pie there, like
Yeah.
okay, yeah,
Yeah, in case you guys don't know what ambrosia salad is, and a lot of you are saying exactly what is true, which is your grandma used to make it. That's what ambrosia salad is.
I'm sorry that you had to be exposed to that as a child. Like that's
okay. What are your guys' thoughts on cranberry sauce?
It better be that
that's
stuff out of the can. I want the stuff that you gotta
Yes.
slice.
Yes.
yeah, yeah.
I want to wiggle that thing out of the can, have it hit that plate, and then just like fruit slice it.
Fruit Ninja.
Fruit Ninja that cranberry sauce.
Yeah, by the end of the night, like by like the second or third serving, whoever's like third in line to get some, like that Jello slice should just look weird because people haven't been cutting it right.
Yes. Yeah, it's kind of pooling. Like it ends up pooling.
Let me ask you this: what do you do with the cranberry sauce? Do you smear it on the turkey and stuff? Does it just go in the like a fork full of a little bit of everything, or do you eat it by itself? Or
So
ever?
I like to pair my cranberry sauce with my dressing. So
Okay.
you get like a little bit of that like tangy, tart,
Tart,
and like
yeah.
savory. Oh, it's perfect.
Yeah, I do like the bite of cranberry sauce with turkey.
I do
Like
too.
if I have turkey on the plate, like that works for me because it's the same thing that Miko's talking about, right? It's a little
Yeah.
bit of the tart and then the bird with the saltiness and
Yeah.
yeah.
I
Yeah,
usually
especially if
not
that bird
really
is
a,
dry.
a sweet and salty guy. Or sweets with meats. Usually I don't like mixing the two. But
Right.
it works there.
Mhm.
It works sweet and salty also. Like that's why yams and mac and cheese go so perfectly together.
Dude, my dad loves yams, but my dad also has like the I don't know palate profile of
Oh yeah, I also should have
a
clarified because
65-year-old smoker. I don't know.
you were very descriptive with your Green Bay casserole. Like when it comes to yams, like I want like the stuff that almost looks like slop. Like there's chunks of like clearly yams in there, but there's a lot of like slop that's just like, yeah, give me that. I want all of that.
Like that's all the stuff that's like coagulating at the bottom. Like I want that. That's what I want.
Mhm.
Chat, Jeremy. Chat is wondering if you like your cranberry sauce topped with Vegemite.
I don't know.
You know,
But we're
now that they bring that
$391 away from another spin on the wheel of pain. I'm sorry, $291 away.
I feel
Just
like we
saying.
have to. I feel like we have to make that like a milestone for next year's Movember. Is that Jeremy has to eat a Thanksgiving plate, and Vegemite has to be like sprinkled in there onto everything.
I saw someone on Instagram, and this is me 100% changing the topic because I wanted to discuss this. Made a like Thanksgiving leftover crunch wrap, and I'm like, you're a genius.
Oh,
I saw nachos.
Nachos
And I
is
was
pretty
like-
good too. I feel like everything's better in a crunch wrap though. It's just like you're
That's
mixing
true.
textures in there. It's portable. It's it's very convenient to eat. Not that that's like super important, but it's kind of like I don't know, something that I love a crunch wrap from Taco Bell. And I think part of it is that it's extremely I can eat that in the car with one hand while I'm driving, and I'm not going to spill any of it because it's awesome.
So I'm assuming like you're still using the tortilla, obviously as the outside of the crunch wrap.
Uh-huh.
Yep.
Are you still using the like tostada as the crunchy part, or are
He
you
used
using
something else. What did they use? I don't remember, but I felt like they used something else.
Oh, hey, Miko, what if he used like the baked part of like the mac and cheese as like the crunchy part?
Now we're cooking. Now we're cooking with gas right now. Oh man. Yeah, it would really heavily depend on like what's all in it. Like for me, if I was building a crunch wrap, like it would be the tortilla. I like the idea of like the crispy like top of the baked mac and cheese,
Mm.
some collard greens, some dressing.
I was gonna say dressing would probably be good in it.
I would probably do turkey with this, honestly. Like I prefer
Yeah.
ham, but I would probably do turkey, gravy, and then I'm trying to. I can't do yams because yams and gravy aren't gonna go good together.
I'm telling you, the little like a little dab of cranberry gonna elevate
It
that
probably would
crunch
be
wrap.
cranberry. I think it would be cranberry after that, and I think that's a good solid crunch wrap, Thanksgiving crunch wrap.
I like the idea of nachos. Just like take whatever your leftovers are and transfer them to tortilla chips or tortilla chips before they're fried.
Yeah, I saw someone do that on on TikTok, and my only gripe about it was that they used shredded cheese and they didn't somehow figure out how to use like the macaroni and cheese to be the cheese.
Mm, mm. Yeah, that's disappointing. Jeremy, should we get back to the podcast or should we answer Johnny Utah's question?
Well, I haven't seen the finale, which aired last night,
I have not either.
but I am
So-
caught up before that, so
That was my plan to watch it tonight.
I'm enjoying the chair company. I do have more alerts to get to.
Go for it.
So let me do that, and then we'll get to the the second segment. Nap Dance Queen, they give her the $30 donation to the University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center, says for already having the tiny cowboy hat, of course. Also, I think we need a ruling from chat whether it's bad juju or not to be wearing a cowboy hat this week,
You can't. Nope.
Because
Because I'm about to say that.
because I'll take it off in an instant if we decide that it's bad. We had the Brad $33.33 donation. Kylo Den $25 says Dan Campbell is more than a meathead. Brad Holmes has built the most talented roster we've ever seen in Detroit. I will believe until the math tells me I can't anymore. Jeremy should write gritty POD on his face. I'll do that. Brad then donated a $3.33 donation. Says you get a 3. You get a 3. Purple Yash $100 donation to University of Michigan Rogel Cancer Center, says really needed the POD today. Really appreciate everything you guys do. Yeah, hopefully we're making you guys laugh, feel better, distracting you, one of the above. Dirtbag Dan with a $4.44
Hey,
donation says going for it. I see what you did there. Another $3.33 donation from Brad. And Nick the Greek, 100 bits, says a meme of Dan Campbell yelling and wearing the number 9 jersey. I've not watched any of Stranger Things. I need to go back and watch the previous season, rewatch the previous season to get caught up. Yosh? No, Yosh. Did I say Yosh or Yosh? Purple Yosh. As in Purple Yoshi. Got it. Okay. All right, we're caught up. What are we talking about?
Oh no, I was gonna like, do we want to go back into the Dungeon of Despair or?
might as well.
Talk a little bit about Kirby, I guess, since I kind of left that one on a hanger.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we can probably start with that, and then transition into the rest of the stretch for the Lions.
Yeah, maybe kind of talk about what else happened in week 13. Is that where we're at? 12? I keep forgetting.
14.
So what happened the
Yes,
rest of
technically.
week 13 into week 14? Got it. Okay.
And welcome back to the Pride of Detroit POD cast. So we're over here into segment 2. Hopefully we can provide a little more optimism or at least a little more clarity, because I feel like this podcast has been pretty much a dungeon of doom, a callback to, sadder times. But first thing that I do want to do, Jeremy, is we touched on Kirby Joseph, possibly the news that is related to him being on the bad side as well. I don't think we gave too much context in terms of what is going on with Kirby for those who probably don't know. So would you mind just providing a little bit more context on what's going on with the Lion star safety?
Yeah, that's my bad for not being a little bit more clear there, because there is good and bad news with Kirby. The good news is that he did return to practice today, Monday, that we're recording this, and has a real chance to play this week. And obviously that's great news. The Lions could use a difference maker in their secondary, could use someone get a turnover or two, where this team has been lacking that. But the bad news is that obviously if you've been following Kirby on social media, he's been posting a lot of like emotional things and clearly going through a lot mentally right now. And we got a little bit of clarity on that from Dan this week, where he talked a little bit more about the injury and noting that it's not something that is necessarily ever going to go away. It's more about building strength to manage the injury than it is to get rid of the injury. And then we talked to Kirby Joseph today in the locker room on Monday, and he was very short. He was very monotonous, seemed very, very down, and just kind of gave one sentence answers about, everything's in God's hand now. I can't control it. Surgery isn't really an option. I'll be out there when it's God's plan. And it's just the vibes with Kirby Joseph are very off right now. And it's hard not to feel really bad for the guy, because he can be a really high energy guy. He can be an energy booster. Earlier this season, he was very much an energy booster. He's a very fun person to be around when he's very excited. And even weeks ago, it felt like he was very exuberant and thrilled to get out there, and now it just feels like he's battling through a lot. And when we saw him at practice today, wearing like a massive brace on his leg, so I don't know what that means for the rest of this year. I don't know what it means for this week. I don't know what it means for his career, but it's just the vibes are off with Kirby right now, and I think there's an understandable concern about what this means for his long-term viability in Detroit.
And that's the thing that is probably the saddest about the state of the team right now, is that we've talked at great length about how important Kirby is to everything that the Lions can do on the back end. And if you want to talk about the poor marriage between pass rush and coverage, it seems like a lot of that has reared its ugly head over the past 6 weeks, that Kirby Joseph hasn't been able to be on the football field. So
Yeah, and I think another thing that does kind of come to mind with this new revelation of what Kirby's been going through is that it does more so lend itself to what Kelvin Shepherd was talking about, in terms of they probably are going to have to do things differently schematically. Like, one of the benefits of playing single high the way the Lions do defensively is that you did have Kirby Joseph back there, and he was such this athletic specimen that could literally play sideline to sideline and cover for a lot of what was going on with the corners. And if he is not necessarily going to be 100%, it does change of what you are going to be able to do, where it probably are you're going to have to maybe go more split, safeties back there and have them each cover a side of the field just to keep your bases covered. But like you said, Jeremy, the the sad news about it is that, like, this is an injury that just seems like it probably won't go away. The benefit, or the slightly good news, is that he is at least going to be out there giving it a try, and that will at least give the Lions at least a good look in terms of what it is that they can and can't do with him, and how can they cover up for him so that he's still going to be able to be an impact player for this team.
Yeah, and it'll give them an idea too of, like, how do we manage this during the season? Is this something that we can realistically get him ready for every Sunday, or is this something that, it might just be too much of an issue? You're going to get some answers here down the stretch, because again, it does look like they're at least going to try to throw him out there at some point this season. They wouldn't practice him if they weren't intending on getting him out there. But yeah, it's just a tough situation. The good news is that Thomas Harper has been playing relatively well. Is he Kirby Joseph? Of course not. But, he's a playable guy out there. He's a guy that I think deserves a shot as a starter or as a primary reserve. Played some good football with the Raiders last year, and it's gotten off to an okay start here as well. So it's not the end of the world if Kirby isn't able to go the rest of the season, but sure, it'd be nice to get him out there.
Yeah, and Ryan, I don't know if you probably feel the same way, but I think one thing to kind of caution fans on, and this goes for like Kirby's situation as well as I think like the rest of the season in totality, is like the last thing you want to do is start jumping to conclusions, right? I think the first thing that people do is they hear of what Kirby's going to be going through, and they immediately want to attach his situation to another player or other situations, and all of a sudden assume like, well, then Kirby's career is just over. Like, to Jeremy's point, I think that's what the rest of the season, these next few weeks, are going to really tell the Lions, is like, what can Kirby do? What can the team do to help him? And at the end of the day, it really is going to come down to number 31 to decide how his career is going to play out the rest of the way.
yep, it's just a bummer, man. I don't have much more to say.
All right. Well, with that said, let's kind of switch gears and look back at this past week. We talked about obviously how things typically impacted the Lions, but Jeremy, when you look at just the landscape of the NFC specifically and looking ahead to the playoffs, Just any big takeaways from like the last week and a bit, and especially going forward into this week as well.
Well, the takeaway is that while nothing has gone in the Lions' favor over the past 2 weeks, the good news is that it has to in the next 2-3 weeks here, because the NFC is going to start beating up on each other. The Bears still are kind of keeping their magic thing alive, but they've got the Packers twice in, I think, the next 3 weeks. They've got a 49ers game somewhere in there as well, and then obviously they finish with the Lions. The Packers, they have the Bears twice. They also have the Broncos in Denver. They also have a Ravens team that's going to be desperate for a win. The 49ers is kind of the last team of that trio that you're kind of hoping falls off, unless you're really holding out hope the Rams or the Seahawks, which I'm not, like, I view those teams as pretty darn good. I don't think they're going to fall off, but the 49ers, Titans, okay, not great, but Colts, Bears, Seahawks is how they finish. Those, there could be 2-3 losses in there.
Colts really have something to play for. They're not the first seed in the AFC South anymore. That belongs to the Jaguars. The Houston Texans are making ground, so that's a game that the Colts have to come up for.
Right. So again, like, you have the Bears and 49ers playing each other, the Bears and Packers playing each other, the Packers playing a couple of really tough NFC games. If you want to throw the Seahawks in that conversation, they also have a pretty tough schedule. Falcons this week, but then Colts, Rams, Panthers, 49ers. So you have the Seahawks playing the 49ers. You have the Seahawks playing the Rams. The Rams are a team that you can kind of control your own destiny with. They lost a game. You can hand them another loss, and then guess what? You hand them one more loss, and suddenly they're reachable. Do I think that's going to happen? No, but Cardinals, Lions, Seahawks, Falcons, Cardinals. So the Rams are probably the least likely to fall off of this group. But again, you're having these teams battle up on each other. Some teams are going to start losing. So, I mean, ultimately, if you're talking about the Lions and what they need to do, the long and short of it is 4-1 almost certainly gets you in. 5-0 is almost guaranteed. 3-2, you're going to need some help. And it all starts this week with the Cowboys. A Cowboys team that they're going to catch you if you lose to them this week. And if you, again, as I said in the first half, like, you do not want to make this, we need to jump 2 teams. You want to stay in that 8 spot or better, because once you start having to jump 2 teams, that's when it's like, okay, we're getting into these if this and that and that and that and that scenarios, which from experience, remember the 90s and the early 2000s where it was like, the Lions can get in, but they need these 7 things to happen. You don't want to get into those races because they very, very rarely break in your favor.
Yeah.
Ryan, when you look at that stretch that the Lions have to kind of go on, how realistic to you is it that the Lions can't kind of go, like Jeremy said, either 4-1 or 5-0 down the rest of the stretch? Like, is there anything, whether it's the opponents or just things that you've seen with the Lions, that give you concern?
I think the chances of them running the table are less than 5%. I think that's such a tall task for a team to do that has a Cowboys team that's hotter than the sun right now, a Rams team that, certainly wants to stamp their way to the number 1 seed. I think that they want to play on their terms, and they want to play in SoFi. Not saying that they can't. I mean, they came very close to beating the Eagles in Philly last year, but I think that the Rams have something to play for. Like, getting an extra bye week for them, I think would be big for them.
The Seahawks are on their tail too. I mean,
yeah. You just have that like week 8 bye, and I think a team like the Rams, kind of like the Lions last year, where it's like, man, it'd be really nice to get that bye, to get like an extra week's worth of rest. I know it didn't work out for the Lions how they wanted it to, but 5-0 seems like a not even a pipe dream. But I think that 4-1, it just starts with Dallas. Like, I think if the Lions beat Dallas, I would say that there's a 75 to 80% shot that they could go 4-1. I really do. Like, I'm not
I just want to, like, I want to highlight that and underscore it, because I don't think I necessarily disagree with you, but that's how close this team is to, like, kind of turning their season around a little bit.
Yes, but I just as easily could see somebody who'd be like, they have like a 10% chance of doing that. And I'd be like, yeah, sure. But also, they were right there with the Packers. They were right there with the Eagles.
Yeah.
It all goes back to this point that I don't think that there's a perfect team in the NFC.
Right.
the teams that are as close to perfect, the Lions have one of those teams on their schedule, in my opinion, and that's the Los Angeles Rams.
Right.
They have
Mhm.
winnable football games on their schedule.
I feel like the next few games down the stretch, and I saw someone say this in chat, and that's kind of why I want to mention it here. I think this is like this stretch is where you prove like how gritty this team can be. I think that's where this team really does need to get back to the grit that they've preached about under Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes these last few years. Because as we talked about in length during the first segment and during our break, like things haven't been great. But I think at some point in time, like Dan Campbell and this coaching staff has to get this team to the mindset of like kind of like what you're saying, Ryan. You have to go out there and beat Dallas. And then once you beat Dallas, then we continue to just grind out everything else. Like it maybe isn't going to look pretty the rest of the way. And maybe that's something that we as a fan base just have to be kind of comfortable with, Jeremy, is that like the Lions just need to go out there and win. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter if it's a strong offensive performance. It doesn't mean if it's a dominant defensive performance. Like the Lions just need to find ways of grinding games out to win, regardless of whether or not they look like Super Bowl contenders at that point.
Right, because like Ryan said, what team remaining on the schedule other than the Rams looks like this unbeatable Super Bowl contender? Like I'd even contend some of the Cowboys hype is a little bit over dramatic. Like that offense, very good. Not gonna poo poo on that at all. But I still very much have questions about that defense considering the recent opponents. And you know, it's a weird matchup because I think the Lions offensively are obviously pretty beat up right now. You're going to be missing your starting left guard, probably your number one receiver, your 1 and 2 tight ends. You know, and who knows what Khalif is, how close Khalif is to being ready. But defensively, like you're out of excuses on defense, and I know that's a good Cowboys offense, but you're actually the healthiest you've been in years on offense. You know,
On defense.
on defense. Sorry. Sounds like maybe you get Kirby Joseph back. Obviously, Terrion's out for the rest of the year here with the shoulder surgery upcoming. But, you know, DJ Reed has now been back for a few weeks and should be playing at the level that you'd expect him to. Mark Davenport has a game under his belt after coming back from injury. Aleem should be hitting his stride, and I think is kind of hitting his stride. And so I think defensively, the amount of talent that we're going to see on the field on Thursday matches the most that we've probably seen in the Dan Campbell era. So it should start playing very well now, or it's never going to happen. Offensively, they're going to have to find something that makes it that can make it work, and that's the biggest challenge for this team right now, because it looked good in the second half against the Packers. I don't know if that was just like, hey, the Packers like, who is this Tom Kennedy guy? We didn't scout him at all. We didn't expect Isaac Tisslaw to come out there and play 50 snaps, or if that's something sustainable. All I know is that, basically all of their margin for error is gone. Like, certainly this week.
Yeah.
If you lose this week, then I think you're pretty much, I don't want to say completely hopeless, but like realistically, like even the most optimistic people that have even an ounce of realism in them would probably be like, okay, it's almost certainly not going to happen. But like Ryan said, like if it does happen, it's the opposite end of the spectrum where it's just like, okay, we're back in this thing like immediately. And that's reflected on, some of the playoff simulators. You look at the New York Times playoff simulator, a win puts the Lions playoff percentage at 45%. So like almost a 50-50 split. A loss puts them at 12%. That's how much is at stake just this week. And it certainly feels like it too.
Ryan, Jeremy pointed out that the offense is going to have to find a way of kind of getting things going, obviously with a missing Amon-Ra St. Brown, having their offensive line issues, also missing both tight ends. In your opinion, who should be holding or shouldering more of the responsibility going forward then? Is this Jared Goff's responsibility to shoulder more of that responsibility, or is this the responsibility of maybe Dan Campbell positioning this running game more so at the forefront these next few weeks?
Yeah, I don't know. The guy with the $154 million contract should probably pick him up a little bit. I think at this point though, I know my checkered past commenting on Jared Goff, and I have to eat 100 chicken nuggets because of the guy. But I truly think that this is a moment, and to his credit, I think Jared Goff bounced back in that Thanksgiving Day game where the first quarter did not look good. It looked like it could be a very long Thursday. I was getting myself nice and comfy because the halftime show was going to keep me looking forward to the rest of that first half of football. To his credit, he played pretty darn good with Tom Kennedy, Isaac TeSlaa. Jameson Williams was the number one receiver. I think the most frustrating thing about all of that is that you see the way JMO plays when he is the guy out there, and it's like, why does it have to be boom or bust? Why does it have to be,
Yeah.
the six catches he had or whatever for 100 plus yards and a touchdown? Why does it have to be that, or it has to be two targets and one catch for 6 yards? It's just it's frustrating in that respect. But I think you do have to count on Jared Goff to be the guy that they paid him to be. I think Jared Goff has an opportunity over these next 6 games. Is that what they left? Five, six? I can't count. Five. I want there to be six. But over these last 5 games, Jared Goff has an opportunity to dispel something that I think is a fair criticism of the guy, and that he needs the things around him to be just right in order for him to be worth the investment. I think that's a fair thing to say about Jared Goff. I think that he has these 5 games to prove that narrative to be wrong. He did a great job of getting off to the right start on Thanksgiving.
Hmm.
Now let's just see him follow through on it. And that's fine. Like, if it includes a heavy dose of Jahmyr Gibbs and the running game popping off, I'm not going to hold that against Jared Goff. I'm not going to say that he has to do it by himself, a la 2016 Matthew Stafford. He doesn't have to have, you know, a game winning drive and a fourth quarter comeback in every win that they have from here on out. But we're going to need him to be the guy that they paid him to be.
Jeremy, do you agree, or do you think that there does need to be more, maybe attention shoved onto the running game for this offense to be efficient?
Well, I think you look at any offense in the league, and there's a underlying running game that's helping the quarterback out, right? Like, there's a reason why Matthew Stafford struggled so much in Detroit for as long as he did and is thriving in Los Angeles. Like, you look at their run game right now, it is almost just as lethal as Matthew Stafford and the Rams offense is. So
look at the Cowboys that are coming to town. Like, their run game is very underrated.
Agreed. So I mean, it's always going to start there, because part of what makes the Lions offense hum when it's going like it is working the run game, staying in manageable down and distances, and then working play action off of that. And I'm not saying that play action only works when you have an established run game. I'm saying play action works when it's 2nd and 2 and the defense doesn't know what you're going to do, and you're in a 2nd and 2 because Jahmyr Gibbs ran for 8 yards on first down. We saw what that looks like against Washington. We saw what it looked like against the Giants. It's in there. Granted, it usually only comes out when they're playing a bad run defense, but you look at the season-long stats for the Cowboys, and they're pretty bad against the run, and I understand they've been better as of late when you add a Quinnen Williams into the situation, but again, we're talking about low sample sizes. We're talking about bad run offenses that they've gone up against. They haven't gone up against a run game as good as the Lions yet under their new improved defensive line, and so I think there's an opportunity there that the Lions could take advantage of this week.
I want to piggyback off of what Ryan said, or at least like add a caveat to it, because I agree with what you're saying, Jeremy, that like the running game still has to, in my opinion, be the engine that drives this offense. Like, that's what has to get going in order for the other things to kind of work. But I do feel like when it comes to Jared Goff, while we don't necessarily need him to be 2016 Matthew Stafford, he does need to make the plays when they're there. And I think when we're talking about like that fourth down play where he misses Jameson a little bit to the outside, like I think we can all agree. No one is sitting here saying that Jared Goff needs to go out there 40 pass attempts and complete, a super high percentage of those. Like, allow your star players, not saying that Jared Goff isn't a star, but allow your impact players. I guess that's the better way of saying it. Allow your impact players to really drive things, and then feed off of that in the passing game by doing what he does best, which is typically making good decisions and delivering the ball to the guys that can make those like star-studded plays.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's very fair to say about him. I know the one thing I want more running Jared Goff. Let's get Jared Goff on the move, man. Apparently
Well,
he can run.
he can run, but he can't throw on the run because that's what happened with the fourth down throw to James.
Yeah, no, throwing on the run, no. But can we work in some naked boots? Can we work in some opportunities where he can flex the wheels a little bit?
I do like the occasional like zone read that they run on the goal line because no one thinks he's going to keep the ball.
Right.
But also,
And then
also
the
the
other
first
thing, did
time
you
that
see him
doesn't-
throwing blocks? Did you see him throwing blocks in the game
did.
too?
Listen, he's got to do everything. Like to your point, Ryan, he needs
Yeah.
to step up and
There
be
you go.
willing to contribute in every way possible. Um, hell, I'm a big fan of the Wildcat to David Montgomery on the goal line. Like let's do more of that as well because
He
that
almost
seems
threw
to
an
have a good
interception
amount
last game though.
except well, hold on. Except for when he's throwing. I just mean like running. I trust David Montgomery and blockers in that situation. Um, any more grievances that anybody needs to get off their chest? Anything else that's been kind of hanging around the last couple
We're going to turn
weeks?
this into a 4-hour podcast, Miko, if we're just going to air all of our grievances here.
I just want to make sure. Actually, there is one thing that I do like. Again, in talking about the offense, I do think this goes back to coaching more so than it does the players. I do think Dan is probably going to have to readjust how he's kind of coaching the offense and how aggressive he wants to be because I feel like he gets into these modes where he feels like the team needs a boost. And I don't know if you guys agree or not, but I feel like that's when he kind of overdoes things a bit.
I didn't have a problem with any of the fourth downs against the Packers. I do agree that maybe it has to be a little bit more situational, but in that game in particular, they were in the middle of the shootout. Field goals weren't going to win that game. So, I don't know. I mean, the play was there for JMO. The other one was a terrible play, and Dan Campbell has admitted as much since. Like, just 4th and 3, I don't know what we're doing trying to run into the teeth of that defense that has been stopping Jahmyr Gibbs all game. But, no, I mean, I know the offense isn't as good as it used to be. And I know sometimes it feels like this team has to just take points when they have them, but I think there's enough issues on defense now that have become apparent where it's like if you're in these 4th and short situations that all of the odds, no matter how bad your offense is, are telling you to go for it, you kind of have to go for it now. It's almost like back to the 2022 season where it's like everyone thought they were going for it on 4th down because they were desperate. Turns out that was just their identity. Now they kind of have to go through it because they're desperate. Like, I don't trust this defense to hold a lead right now. So go and get as many points as you can.
I think the thing that's concerning, though, is that if you don't trust this defense right now to get a stop, where's the cavalry in 2026? You know what I mean? I'm a little bit concerned about that because there was definitely times earlier in the season where it looked like this could be a top 5 defense, a top 3 defense even.
Yeah.
And I know I said if the Lions could have the number 1 defense in DVOA, that they would be, a team that would have Super Bowl on their mind. But they haven't looked like that. To your point, Jeremy. I think though in like the Philadelphia game, I wasn't so totally sold on the defense, partially because the Eagles' offense being bad.
Yeah.
There were moments in that game where it felt like, is Dan Campbell going to be more situational, or is he going to be stuck with this aggressiveness? Which I am not saying that you need to completely wad up and change your identity or be somebody that you aren't. I think that you have new information, and I know you very much believe in this. Like I will make a new assessment based on the new information that's in front of me. I don't think that the Lions defense was playing that bad against Philadelphia to do a fake punt at midfield.
Sure.
To maybe not take some points in that game. I do agree with you more in the sense of the Green Bay game. You needed to score points because your defense wasn't stopping anybody. Also, with that said, Jared Goff killing into a trap run at midfield when it wasn't just the 4th down though. It was the way they handled that entire sequence of
Four straight
plays.
runs, yeah.
like that's not going to work. Like if it didn't happen on 3 downs, it wasn't going to happen on the fourth one, especially with the way that you drew up that play. So I think on a macro level, it's one of those things where I feel like you have to have some awareness, you have to take stock, and you have to decide. And maybe that's to what's going on with what's on Dan Campbell's plate right now. Is it play calling? Is it knowing when to do that? I know that they have all of these situations essentially on a card, on a sheet, right? And it says like, hey, if it's here, we're gonna do this. If it's here, we're gonna do that. I know that they've worked all this stuff out and they have a method to their madness. If the defense looks like it's playing pretty good against Dallas, though, I hope they take some points in spots. You know,
Well,
I,
but
it's knock on wood. I get it.
Yeah, let's predict how that game's going to play out. Do you think they're going to have to go for it on more fourth downs or be a little bit more conservative against the Dallas Cowboys offense?
Depends on how James Houston plays.
James Houston barely plays anymore.
I mean, in seriousness though, it depends on how Aiden Hutchinson plays. If Aiden plays how he has been playing against the Dallas Cowboys in previous seasons, I do think you lean on this defense a little bit more, and you're much more selective, like in Ryan saying. I think if this game looks very much like Green Bay does, then yes, I think you are gonna have to probably be much more aggressive. I I guess though I do lean more towards what Ryan's suggesting in that like you really do. Dan is really going to have to be in the moment and be really analyzing how are things going and not just be beholden to like, hey, we came into the game with this mindset and we stuck to it. Like as you are getting information as the game is transpiring, you have to be willing to adjust.
Yeah, and I think Dan would admit that too. It might not look like it from the outside, but I think he is doing a lot of those things. But I also think at the core of him, he thinks, which I agree with, that generally a more aggressive attitude wins you more games in this league.
Yeah, I would agree with that too.
I mean, it has. I think it's hard to like for him specifically. I think it's hard to disagree with that. With right, he's won so many games being that way, and maybe I am, and as well as other fans are being a little bit of a prisoner of the moment where it's like, hey, things aren't working well. You're 0-7 on fourth downs in the last 2 games. Does a change need to happen? And maybe it is a little bit more of what Ryan was suggesting of like, is this just maybe just a few things just not going well and not so much like him not being present in the moment?
I just know that for Lions fans, trust me, it could be way worse. Like you watched that Black Friday game, right? You want Nick Sirianni to be your head coach? Would you want to be in the Vikings situation right now?
No.
It could be worse. It could be way worse.
Well, and I think with that,
we shouldn't have to remind Lions fans that it can be worse than 7-5 in December.
It feels like we need to be reminded. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But in the same vein, it could get a lot better, right?
Yeah.
I think, and at the end of the day, it does need to start with
probably
getting a much needed win against Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And then hopefully they can kind of push again to get a playoff spot. Ryan, you've been saying it since the start of the season. Just get in.
And then let the chaos happen. Just get in. Super Bowl shuffle your way in week 18.
And I want to like stretch it a little bit beyond this year too, because I feel like the doom and gloom has been like, well, our window's over. Brad Holmes is terrible. Dan is terrible. We'll never lead this team. It's like, that's the stuff where like I need to step in. Like, let's pump the brakes, folks. This still is an extremely talented roster. Is still extremely. Most of their talent is extremely young. Now, does it seem like maybe there's a little bit more needs than there were in previous years with like, who knows about Kirby's future? Who knows about left tackle, center, edge, maybe a starting linebacker. Like, I understand there's a lot, right? Like,
yeah.
But at the same time, the guys that you do have are like top 10 players at their position. Like, not across the board, but a lot of them, right? You have a top 10 wide receiver. I think you're still going to have a top 10 tight end. We'll see about that one too. Top 5 running back, maybe a top 3 running back. You still have a top 10 edge rusher. I don't care what the haters have to say. You have a top 5 linebacker.
Yeah.
Top 10 safety and maybe another top 10 safety. Like there's still an abundance of talent here, and you still have a pretty darn good evaluator in Brad Holmes, even if that 2024 draft is not looking particularly good right now, and the jury's very much out on 2025 as well. And you have a great culture here. Like that is like, I still believe in Dan Campbell, full-throated, all of that, and I understand people miss Ben Johnson right now, and I understand, like, I'm not going to be one of those people who's like, oh, then go be a Bears fan. Like, no, I get it. Ben Johnson was a huge asset to this team, and I never really understood why people completely, I mean, I understand why people turned on him, but the dismissing of what he did here was what I didn't understand. And the Lions are feeling it, but he's not the only bright offensive mind out there. Maybe the Lions can go out. We don't even know if they're going to get a new offensive coordinator or not. I would assume that they probably will, because I don't think Dan wants to do play calling all over again next year, and I kind of doubt that they'd give him back to Morton. But anyways, the point being, just as quickly as the Bears turned things around this year, just as quickly as the Patriots did, or just as quickly as the Chiefs and the Ravens and the Bengals all went in the opposite direction, like, it can bounce right back in a hurry, especially when you have the foundation that the Lions do.
I think we leave things there, guys. So with that said, obviously it's a short week, so obviously things are going to be a little shuffled over here at Pride Detroit. Expect to get Before the Roar on Wednesday morning so that you guys can at least check that out before the game. I think when it comes down to Pride Detroit Direct, you guys are going to be recording First Bite tomorrow.
That's right. Tomorrow night, Tuesday night at, what did I say, Ryan? 8 p.m. Eastern, I think.
Yeah. Yep.
For PODD subscribers, we'll also be doing an exclusive mailbag that'll probably get sent to you Thursday morning, which will be a little bit weird, but enjoy that. If you're a Pride of Detroit Direct subscriber, prideofdetroit.com/subscribe if you want to become one. And then we also got to announce the Movember stream, the 16-hour from 8 a.m. to midnight this upcoming Saturday, December 6th. I've already booked a bunch of guests. We're going to have a few more, a bunch of local reporters. At least one national reporter has confirmed that they will be there. And it'll be our final opportunity to raise money for the University of Michigan Local Cancer Center. It's going to be a ton of fun. It's always really, really fun. You get to see me at my most exhausted by midnight, if that's something that appeals to you. But more than anything, it's an awesome day of a ton of Lions talk, a lot of fun. Giveaways. We're doing a ton of giveaways all day. We've got sports cards. We've got the Amon-Ra bobble legs thing, T-shirts, sign stuff here and there. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you stop by our live streams on YouTube and Twitch during that time.
And you can find both of those at youtube.com/Pride Detroit as well as twitch.tv/Pride Detroit for either one of those streams when you come Saturday. So yeah, guys, I think that is pretty much going to do it. So like always, if you were looking for any more additional Lions news or updates or analysis, you can always check out pridedetroit.com. There are new articles being put up every single day, multiple times throughout the day. So always be sure to check out the website whenever you are looking for the latest news. So with all that said, I'm Miko. He's Jeremy. He's Ryan. Thank you guys for taking the time to watch, listen, vent, cry, do whatever you needed to do to get through the day. And we will see you guys in the next one.
Recording stopped.
Wow, fires it up immediately.
I'm hungry. I haven't eaten since lunch.
There are some biscuits, and Cleveland made like some biscuits and like cream of chicken and broccoli thing. It looks amazing.
I would eat that.
Before we get out of here, I want to shout out the incorrigible Nolan Bianchi. Offered up this pack of 11 cards, and I believe they're all rookie cards, if I'm not mistaken.
Let me see
Detroit sports legends.
Penei Sewell, is that numbered?
That is a Penei Sewell number 137. I don't know what that means.
Is it on the front marked any like number out of something? Something out of something?
It has, 147 out of 399.
Nice. So there are 399 of those cards printed.
I don't know if this is a rookie card or not. I think it is actually.
Dylan Larkin. Waterford's own.
Maybe a lesser known Detroit sports Dylan.
Dude, Dingler.
Dylan Dingler.
Dude, I love Dylan Dingler. You're talking about Gold Glove winning Dylan Dingler. Some more Sewell.
Another Sewell. Little guy named Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Yeah, he's all right. Better get back on the field.
Jake Rogers. I don't even know if Jake Rogers is good or not, but it's a signed Jake Rogers card.
Jake Rogers? Oh, man. Some people will pop for that. I know that.
More Panay.
Panay Sewell.
Man, you guys are going to have to make sure that Morgan doesn't like
I know.
his name. That
Amon-Ra. Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra. Numbered.
Too.
Numbered out of, yeah.
And
nice.
Get him while he's here. So
I feel
we'll
like
be
that's
given
the only thing that could like make this week worse as like a Detroit sports fan.
Oh, the Tigers trade Scooble. I would.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So I haven't decided if we're gonna give all of these away in one lump sum or just give them away a little bit at a time. Nolan's gonna join us on Saturday, so maybe we'll give a couple away while he's on. But yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. You guys should come out for as much as you want, and if you can donate during that time, that's great. We'll cash in all of the things that you want us to. So like, I don't know, if you donate $400, we'll crack some eggs on our head.
I'm not allowed to anymore. I got yelled at.
Did you really?
By yelled at, I mean I got a stern look and I needed those for Thanksgiving.
I'm just now
So,
realizing
like,
that I didn't write something on my head, but that's amazing.
Would you say that she called it a technical foul?
You can't run back foul twice. I thought it was
I
gonna be
did.
something related to eggs or
Did.
crack.
I did it twice. I did it
Oh,
twice because I
man.
want to be kicked off this podcast right now.
I hope Taco Bell gives you
I-
food poisoning.
What do you guys
I
think?
feel like-
What are thoughts on this?
Gives you diarrhea. You should do it.
Yeah, no.
No,
I don't know.
worth a try.
I mean, it's crispy chicken. It's
It's probably
Like
fine.
everything seems fine, but you're really rolling the dice in the sauce, right?
And I'm also
Yeah,
wondering why that
like-
thing is $6.50 on
it's a
its
meal,
own.
right?
Is it the whole meal or is that just the sandwich?
No, that's
thing?
just
Or
the burrito.
Yeah, no.
You want to know why?
No.
Why?
We can get into it. Gonna
feel
go
like it's gonna
back
be
to
another foul
gonna
joke.
go back to petty old dudes. I'll tell you why it's $6.50. Tell you why my grocery bill's $180.
Okay, no, hold on. No. I did just call a burrito a sandwich. It is, because it is.
Oh,
I was gonna
okay.
say-
I don't
I was
want to be a
also-
part of
oh.
this.
I was also going to say that we should just replace sandwiches with Crunch Wraps. Like, that's how we should serve sandwiches now.
I would love one of these crispy chicken crunch wraps. That'd be
What
heavenly.
sandwich would be worse made in a Crunch Wrap? The answer
Peanut
is
butter and jelly.
none. You say peanut butter and jelly?
Yeah.
Nah, this would be better.
in a crunch wrap.
In a crunch wrap?
Yep.
Like, no,
Give it
the
some
bread
texture,
is what
baby.
makes a peanut.
Some
That's not
texture?
gonna taste. That's not gonna be good with a tortilla.
Yeah, it is. 100%.
I think I agree with Miko on this. Like,
That's fine. You guys want to
it's
punt.
all.
You guys want to punt too, so that's fine.
It's also an uncrustable. I just wanted them to punt when it would hurt you.
Now, speaking
Oh,
of which, there's apparently a big punt return touchdown that just happened in Monday Night Football.
Oh, I forgot there was football being played tonight.
It's already over. It's about to be 10-0. It is 10-0
I was gonna say-
Patriots.
This game doesn't have like any impact on like Lions playoff odds.
Oh,
Anyways.
hold on. Can we at least briefly discuss that Jackson Dart finished above Jared Goff in the first wave of Pro Bowl voting.
Hell yeah, brother.
Oh boy.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
I'm moderately surprised that Jared Goff was not in the top 10. Not completely, but
I'm not. This year? No,
Yes.
not this year.
Why?
I don't think he's played like a top 10 quarterback this year. Like I test.
Hold on.
Like
Whoa,
probably
hold on. We don't need to pull receipts because there was a point in time when you guys were calling him a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. So
this year.
yes, yeah.
His stats
it
are
happened.
still all top 10. Sixth
I
in
think.
yards.
All right.
How many yards per attempt? 6 in yards per attempt. Third in quarterback rating. Second in completion percentage.
I would be curious on like when I said that though, and like what the Lions' record was when I said that.
Doesn't matter. You said
It
it.
I got new information, and my opinion's allowed to change.
Okay. Jeremy said all that, and I just wanted to do the Patrick Bateman beam where I was like, impressive. Show me the A dot.
A dot doesn't matter. That's not a sign of talent.
I think it matters a little bit.
Can you name 10 quarterbacks better than him? That's my question.
I'm just saying that when Amon-Ra St. Brown bails you out on a bubble screen on 3rd and 11 and you throw the ball at the line of scrimmage, that's an Amon-Ra St. Brown play. That's not a Jared Goff play.
Unless he got him into that play.
I know he got him into 4th down at midfield
So
against the
wait,
Green
so
Bay
wait, so
Packers.
So he checked into a play
That worked.
and then did his job by making sure that he completed a pass behind the line of scrimmage to one of the best receivers in the NFL.
I'm not saying that that's not to his credit, but I'm saying that who deserves the most credit on that play?
It's team sport, Ryan. Penei Sewell for throwing the block.
All right, so you're telling me that Kyle Allen could do a great job. Team sport. It's just a quarterback.
Well, let me read you the top 10 by, and I understand this is Pro Bowl voting and it doesn't matter, and especially when it's just like the first 4 days of Pro Bowl voting.
Yeah, I'm a real sicko. I want Kyle Allen the last 5 games, but go ahead.
Tell me of these 10, how many deserve to be above Jared Goff? Number 1 in voting, Drake May.
Mahomes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, this season, yes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Also ridiculous that he's number 1. Matthew Stafford is number 2.
Yep.
Josh Allen
We
is
don't-
number
we don't
3.
have to say anything. Okay.
Dak Prescott. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
This feels like one of those speak when you hear a quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh,
Patrick-
then fine. Let's do that. Let's do that.
Is Patrick Mahomes having a better year than Jared Goff? The silence is deafening.
I think by Mahomes standards, no.
Are you essentially asking me if I brought Patrick Mahomes onto the Detroit Lions right now, would he be having a better season than Jared Goff? Is that kind of the question?
I mean, if you want to make it the question was just simply, is he having a better season right now than Jared Goff?
I don't know. I don't know if I can say for sure. Just like I can't say for certain whether or not the Lions training staff needs to be.
Daniel Jones.
He is playing on a fractured fibula.
I'll give you Daniel Jones.
Okay.
Now I'm going to watch you squirm. Caleb Williams.
Oh God.
Yeah. Number 7. Caleb Williams. What do you say? Let me hear it. I dare you to tell me that Caleb Williams is playing better as a quarterback than Jared Goff. Say it.
No, he's not. He's not playing better than Jared Goff.
He knows how to escape pressure.
He knows how to hand the ball off.
No, he's not. Okay.
Wait, hold on. Question.
Mm-hmm.
Is Hank Fraley a Ben Johnson merchant?
Listen, I think there needs to be at least a little bit of a serious conversation about if we've overrated Hank Fraley.
But he got a head coaching interview with the Seahawks. He got
Wait, overrated him to what exactly?
I mean, kind of gave him a maybe I think a lot of people were quick to give him way more credit for the run game than maybe what was deserved.
And
Okay.
this guy that can develop anybody, Colby Thorsville, Giovanni Manu. Anyone else who's played this year as a reserve?
No, I mean,
I just like some people had him on deity status. That's all. I'm not saying he's a bad coach because he's not. He's a good coach, but maybe the range should be pulled back a little bit. Number 8, Jordan Love.
now, but this feels like an ethics question more than anything.
Mm-hmm.
Ethical football. I got quote tweeted by Justice when I said, like, of course the Packers win with an unethical play. And as soon as that happened, I knew there were going to be Packers in my mentions for the rest of the day, and I immediately had to mute that conversation because I'm like, I don't want him to do this.
You did that?
Packers fans.
Oh, I blocked them. I blocked a lot of people. I blocked I blocked Zachary Jacobson. Do you know who that guy is?
Nope.
He's got the dog avatar. I think he's a writer for 24/7 for them. I wanted to see the replay a few more times, and also I was trying to understand the catch. Like, I think I understand. I thought the pool report was garbage, as did a lot of people, right?
Oh,
like just saying like
garbage. It was garbage.
just saying like receivers are great. It's like, okay, and how does that apply?
Awesome.
Like I just wasn't for certain on any. Now maybe because it was ruled a touchdown, hard to overturn it. But I did feel like when he initially has his hands on that football and that foot is down, that is coming up, I felt like the ball moved. It felt like he didn't have possession and then kept possession. It felt like he was gaining possession. It didn't feel like he had possession with that foot. And I can hear the argument of one way or the other, and I can understand why. But like I said, how is that a catch? To which he came in and he was like, well, he caught it with his hands and he put 2 feet in the end zone. I hope that helps. And it led to every one of his mouth breathing, knuckle dragging idiot followers to jump in my mentions and be like, yeah, I hope that cleared that up for you. Okay. Yeah. Okay, guy. Okay. Can't wait for you to get your lunch money fed to you by Sean McVay.
It did feel like, I feel like the call that it was confirmed was a little like much. If they had said like, hey, it stands, I'd be like, all right, cool. Like
I
that's
agree
debatable.
that a longer look should have been made, right? Like they should have stopped the play. They should have looked at it, gone under the hood and looked at it for a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yep.
I
The
ultimately
timeout
think,
though.
What?
The timeout though.
Oh, the timeout was bullcrap. I don't care what. There's not an explanation on the planet that you're going to give me that makes sense.
That changes the game a lot. You go from 4th and 1 to going for it to 4th and 6. Are you still going for it, Matt LaFleur?
That is the first time I've lost my cool at a Lions game in a long time.
Because it was clear. It was clear and obvious.
And to be clear, I lost my cool after they scored the touchdown. I broke my pen in half.
Listen, and like LaFleur's little smirk at the end of in the
press conference,
the
bro
wink
is so unprofessional in my opinion.
It is very unprofessional, but he's a liar, and those aren't my words. That's Dusty Evely. He called Matt LaFleur a liar.
He's a D-bag. He is 100% a D-bag.
Yeah, I hope nothing good happens to him in his football career. I only hope for bad things.
Fair. Number 9 is Jackson Dart. Number 10 is Sam Darnold.
I think Sam should be higher on the list. For sure.
Then Goff?
I mean, like, I
Then
mean,
Dart,
then
I think you
Goff,
meant.
and definitely, yeah, but definitely higher than Dart, and I would put him above. I'd put him above Caleb, and I'd put him above. Who did you say after Caleb?
Jordan Love, Jackson Dart,
Yeah,
Sam Darnold.
I'd put him above those two. If we're talking about this season,
Yeah. I'm just surprised that Jared was not on that list because, like, Jack Campbell is the #1 Pro Bowl voted linebacker in football right now.
Jack's been awesome.
He has been, but like that also tells me that a lot of Lions fans are voting.
Did
So you
Dart
think like Lions fans aren't voting for Jared Goff? Is that what you're saying?
Kind of. Like that's surprising.
did Dart
to me.
get hurt again?
Is he not playing right now?
Well, Adam Schefter just retweeted something that was like, "Oh, this is from 2 weeks ago that Jackson Dart should change his approach to like running the football."
Jackson just got smoked. Hold on, I'll mute it.
Oh, jeez.
He did just get smoked. He's fine, but he got smoked out of bounds. Oh, man.
The thing is,
that organization is going to have to sit him and Scatterboo down at the end of the season and be like, "Hey guys,
no more scoops of pre-workout before the game.
no more scoops of spiked pre-workout before the game. Whatever the hell you two are taking."
Yeah, you stop eating the drywall.
Yeah.
I'm happy for Jack Campbell though. I hope he makes it, and I hope he gets the recognition from players and coaches as well.
Jack Campbell.
I think maybe Pro Bowl voting just came out at the wrong time because I think people are still kind of just like maybe a little upset with Jared. Like he had a great Thanksgiving game, but I think people might just be a little
But
perturbed.
Brian Branch was #2 among. I'm sorry, Brian Branch was #2. Kirby Joseph was #3, I think, amongst free safeties. Just like
Lions
those guys-
fans they just
Listen.
have time on their hands.
but not enough to vote for Jared Goff.
All right, listen. Ryan would probably agree with this. The
makes you
golf chants are
think.
fun. The golf chants are fun. Maybe I shouldn't say that. Maybe I should.
The
I
last
meant, like-
thing I think they are.
No, what I was gonna say is like, all right, this is just my opinion of like Lions fans. I think Lions fans like the idea of rooting for Jared Goff more than they like having him as their quarterback.
I think that's a very interesting take.
Wait, what'd you say? Say repeat that.
I think they like the idea, like I think they like rooting for Jared Goff more than they actually like having him as their quarterback. Like
They just like chanting someone's name.
like
Is what you're
because like
saying.
you look at
They couldn't do it with Matthew Stafford. That doesn't have the same ring.
Matthew Stafford. It's easy.
No. No, they were waiting for something that was more Jared Goff. That's more.
It was just one of those
It's
things
more.
where it's like, oh,
Tribalistic.
It's more.
It's more tribalistic and like
it's just
saying
funny
it's
'cause,
a
like,
cult.
I just think like I feel like Jared's always the first one that like people like fans kind of turn on, right? Like
Yeah, that's the nature.
BB hasn't had the
Yeah.
hasn't had the greatest season, but like you just said, BB's still second in voting. Like
Maybe not after Thanksgiving. There were a lot of people on Twitter that were
He was
like
good on
MF.
Thanksgiving.
They were MFing Brian Branch because of one play.
but like yeah, but that's like the fickleness of like fandom.
Sure, yeah.
Do you think JJ McCarthy would have made the Pro Bowl voting if they had done it after his second start, where he won NFC Player of the Week?
Oh, you mean the
the
game
answer to
where
that
he
question.
beat the Lions?
That's not the game I was talking about.
That's the only game I can think of.
The one he came back against the Bears. He played 3 terrible quarters and 1 good quarter, and they're like, Offensive Player of the Week, you did it.
Yeah, they were like, "No, it's Tom Brady."
It's time to go. Sorry, I've delayed your Taco Bell order. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying, would you rather have a center that's unretiring and maybe doesn't have as real of a hamstring injury as he possibly may have had, or would you rather have a quarterback where your team is making up injuries so that they don't have to play you anymore? And they just drafted you in the first round a
He
year
just
ago.
cleared protocol though, didn't he? JJ's
I
coming
think
back, baby.
he had to clear protocol after the way that Max Brosmer played.
If you could have given me 45 minutes to name the Vikings starting quarterback on Sunday 5 seconds ago, I wouldn't have been able to do it.
I've had it in my mind because all those stupid Vikings fan pages are like, could be the next Birdie. And I was like, I can't wait to see this. I can't wait to see this against the Seattle Seahawks on the road. I can't wait to see the next Brock Purdy in this spot.
I was in the Lions facility during that game because we had media availability yesterday. And before, like, just as the game was starting, I turned to some guys. I'm like, how many points do you think the Vikings are going to score today against the Seahawks defense with a third string quarterback? Turned out the answer was 0.
And that's the thing. I want to push that back in Vikings fans' faces. Any of them who have ever been like, oh man, and the Lions wasted a Hall of Fame talent like Calvin Johnson. Like watching a sad Justin Jefferson out there this season has been tough.
Yeah.
And he can't do anything. They can't do anything but put their faith behind him. Like him and Aaron Jones publicly, they have to be like, they have to have JJ McCarthy's back. Justin Jefferson, you have caught 11 passes in the last 3 weeks combined.
And I mean, like, Kwesi, who just got extended, like,
Yes,
4 months ago.
yes.
Are we?
Or no. Oh yeah, he did. He did. Also, Poles did too.
Are we
Which
talking about the Adam Thielen trade? Who admittedly, like, I was a little annoyed by. Like, I was like, why are you doing this? Why are you giving them extra things, Panthers? Turns out they got what? Like, he played like 3 games.
yeah, didn't he catch like 4 passes or something?
They traded a 4th round pick for a Jordan Addison replacement for 4 games. Like, that's it. That's all they got out of that.
He has 15 catches in the past 4 games.
Yeah, Adam Thielen, 8 catches, 69 yards this year for the Vikings.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna go get Taco Bell, guys.
All right. Guys, we'll be live again tomorrow night for First Bite with our good pal RJ Ochoa. 8 p.m. We'll probably hang out a little bit afterwards. Preview Cowboys. Wednesday we'll do the Madden Sim as well. So you'll get 3 straight streams to start out this week. Maybe a post-game POD cast Friday night. Maybe. Looking for visual confirmation or acknowledgement.
Oh, yeah.
Great.
I'll be around.
And then Saturday's the big 16-hour stream, 8 a.m. to midnight. Right now.
Yeah, if we do Friday, we have to do it a little later than 6, but yeah.
So, actually, no, we can talk about this off stream. I'll ask off stream.
Well, you know, why not just do it right before I go live on Saturday morning? We'll just make it a 20-hour podcast.
Perfect.
Great. Anyways, appreciate y'all. Sim on Wednesday night. I think I got through all the alerts. Thanks for all the donations, all the resubs, all the bits, YouTube subs, all that sort of stuff. Not 24 hours. We ain't doing that. But yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow night, then Wednesday night, then Friday night, then Saturday, all of the time. We'll see you guys soon.